Chapter 176. These people, Yuan Tianchu's evaluation of the three of them was really low. They seemed fierce, but actually they were just acting. A truly dangerous man was just like Zhou Zhongmao. He looked really honest, like he was an idiot, but the truth was that they were all cheated. The three most terrifying people in Martial Path Mountain, apart from Lin Fan and Zhang Tianshan, Zhou Zhongmao was the most terrifying. He looked honest, but his methods weren't simple. Have you seen him shatter bones with his bare hands? He shattered the bones of the human body piece by piece. Even the finger bones were not spared. That was really terrifying. You haven't seen it, but I have. The others were screaming miserably, but his expression was indifferent, as if he was doing something very normal. Lin Fan raised his head and said, "Are you all wrong? When did my Martial Path Mountain snatch disciples from others? Leave quickly." He was lazy to talk nonsense with the three of them. They didn't know what to say. Rage points plus 55. Rage points plus 66. Rage points plus 55. Lin Fan couldn't take it anymore. 2-digit rage points, that was just too embarrassing. Silver Spear Riding Horse Sect Leader Lin, do you think we are fools? Within 100 miles, only your Martial Path Mountain is here. You have so many people, but you just had to snatch them from us. You have to give us an explanation, otherwise this matter won't end. Wang Yushu raged. Lin Fan said helplessly, "You want an explanation? Cousin, don't kill him." The moment he said that, Lin Fan walked towards the backyard. This was just a small incident that didn't hurt or itch. It was just a small incident that didn't matter. Not long later, screams spread out. F***CK. The three higher-ups of Wandering Dragon Sect were violently treated. They were so muscular and didn't attack, but they actually attacked first. Are you still King human? Zhang Tianshan couldn't hold them back. Kid Lin, what are you doing? Why did you hit them? If you have something to say, then say it nicely. They were all sect leaders, so getting close to them and building relationships was the best way to develop a sect. One couldn't offend them. The names of the three of them had a sense of elegance, elegance, and elegance. The fortune teller was really something. Rage points plus 99 rage points, plus 99 rage points, plus 99. They were furious to such an extent, but they still couldn't break through 3 digits. They were really unwilling, but they had already tried their best. This was their limit, and they couldn't break through it all. Martial Path Mountain. They were thrown out of the mountain by Zhou Zhongmao. Each of them covered their faces. Their eyes were either black or swollen. Don't worry, my sect leader doesn't have any bad intentions. This is just his way of communicating. You said that you were Wandering Dragon sect leader, deputy sect leader, elder, then we can get to know each other. I am Martial Path Mountain's deputy sect leader, Zhang Tianshan. Zhang Tianshan consoled the three of them. Both of them were respectable people, so how could they just attack each other like this? Furthermore, they had even beaten the other party up to such a state. It was a loss of face. This was a little too much, especially when he was the sect leader. Wang Yushu was very unwilling, but when he heard the other party's self-introduction, he raised his head and said, "You're the knowledgeable vice sect leader Zhang." And Zhang Tianshan was stunned, and then he was delighted. He even had a name outside. Knowledgeable? This was not bad at all. The 50 silver was worth it. Although it was expensive, one had to say that he was really efficient. Right, that is me. However, this is just a title and can't be taken seriously. Although I do know everything, I am still far from it. Zhang Tianshan said humbly. This was a huge compliment, but he was really happy. Wang Yushu said with a wronged expression, "I think you're not bad, but how can your sect leader do that? To actually beat us up? We are in the right. There's so many people within 100 miles, so how can you take them all in? You even snatch people from our side. Don't you think that's too much?" Right, it is indeed a little too much. What I am thinking is that our Martial Path Mountain can have a good relationship with your Wandering Dragon sect and help one another. All right, how many people does your Wandering Dragon sect have? Zhang Tianshan asked. They were all people who opened up sects, so naturally, they were close friends. Although the three of them weren't much, but with their status and identity, it would be good to communicate with them. Not many, apart from the three of us, there are only 6 disciples. Wang Yushu said. He was a little proud. He took a close look, and Marshall Path Mountain didn't have many people. In terms of numbers, they were much less than them. Not bad, a few more than us. How is your income? Zhang Tianshan asked. One had to admit that they did have more people than them. What income? Wang Yushu asked. His face still hurt a little. That fellow beat them up so badly that the three of them actually couldn't fight back at all. That was obviously impossible. A sect leader, a vice-sect leader, and an elder couldn't even defeat a nameless blockhead. If one said that out, it would be a little embarrassing. Of course, Zhang Tianshan's question about income made it tough for them. That question was really a good one. What income? Sometimes they didn't even have enough to eat. Zhang Tianshan wanted to learn from other sects and see how other sects earn money so that he could learn from them. However, the expressions of the three of them revealed a poor aura. Maybe he shouldn't have asked. Deputy Sect Leader Zhang, we were beaten up for no reason. Let's not talk about other things, at least pay some medicine fees. Wang Yushu said. This, Zhang Tianshan was really helpless. Medicine fees? Actually, he didn't have much money. Guys, I don't have much money on me. 1 silver is fine. Zhang Tianshan shook his head. From Marshall Path Mountain, he had emptied out all his money. Why did he have to beat them up? What matter couldn't be solved by talking it out? Why did he have to beat them up and even have to pay the medicine fees? Haze, Wang Yushu said, forget it, forget it. 1 silver is better than nothing. Deputy Sect Leader Zhang, you are a smart person. In the future, you should talk to your sect leader. Why are you so rash? Even if our Wandering Dragon sect can't do it, we can't just randomly beat them up. Zhang Tianshan nodded his head. Right, you are right. I will talk to him. If I have a chance, I will head to Wandering Dragon sect to visit. You are a smart person. Wandering Dragon sect welcomes you. If there is nothing else, then we won't disturb you. Goodbye. The three from Wandering Dragon sect got up and left. They had a bad start this time, but it wasn't like they didn't gain anything. At least 1 silver entered their accounts. Zhang Tianshan waved his hands to send them off. He finally understood that sometimes he couldn't just look at the surface. Establishing a sect sounded very impressive, but there were still too many sects at the bottom. Too many. As for the three of them asking him to persuade Lin Fan not to be rash, let's not talk about that. He might be the deputy sect leader, but his position in the sect wasn't that high. Jiang City, the three from Wandering Dragon sect didn't leave. They entered the city to take a look. Since they were here, they should buy some things back as gifts for those smart kids. They looked around and entered a clothing store. Kid clothes were really expensive, even more expensive than adult clothes. However, they still bore the pain and bought 6 sets. Big brother, you should buy some clothes too. You haven't changed your clothes for a year. It smells. Wang Linfeng said. When no one was around, they called each other brothers. Wang Yushu wasn't happy. What smell? I'm pretty good. What's wrong? Are you jealous of your big brother's chest hair? After he said that, he stroked his chest hair. His manly aura exploded out. Big brother, then let's not buy. We still have a lot of money left. Let's buy some pastries and bring them back. We haven't given them good food in a long time. Wang Linfeng said. To be honest, including the three of them, there were a total of 9 people in Wandering Dragon sect. However, the remaining 6 were all kids. The oldest was only 11 and the youngest was only 2. They were all orphans. They were either picked up on the side of the road or they met people on the verge of death. The 3 of them didn't want to start a sect. There were only 3 uncouth men wandering around all day long. But when they adopted the 3rd kid, they realized that the situation wasn't right. Why do they keep meeting kids? It wasn't that they didn't have love. But if they were to raise their children like this, how could they let their children idle around all day like them? This was why the 3 of them agreed to form a sect. In the future, when the kids spread out, their statuses would be different too. I'm a grand disciple of Wandering Dragon sect. My master is the sect leader. I am the 2nd disciple of Wandering Dragon sect. My master is the deputy sect leader. Just hearing this, one knew that it was really cool. No matter if the sect was strong or not, they just had to brag and shock the other party. The 3 of them pulled their horses. Suddenly, Wang Xiaosai's eyes open wide like he was stunned. After a while, he reacted, "Big brother, second brother, look at a fairy." And those words attracted their attention. Not far away, a girl pulled a horse and walked on the streets. Her tall and sexy body not only charmed Wang Xiaosa and the others. Even the commoners in the surroundings were dumbfounded. Beauties were so welcomed everywhere. Beautiful, so beautiful. The girl didn't care about the surrounding gazes like she was used to it. Wang Yushu came back to his senses and said leisurely, "I didn't expect Jiang City to have such a beauty. Why don't we have one?" "Big brother, it has nothing to do with us," Wang Linfeng said. With how they were, they basically wouldn't be able to see beauties for the rest of their lives. "It is okay to take a look," Wang Yushu said. Suing left Fuzhou and came to Jiang City. She wasn't in a rush and just rode the horse. Even after entering Jiang City, she didn't immediately search for the gang's treasure. Actually, it wasn't important to her whether or not it was important. Even if she couldn't find it, it didn't matter. The 9 Bug Gang leader wouldn't dare to do anything to her. She came to the inn and got the best room. "Take care of my horse." She tossed the silver and walked up. The gazes of the people around weren't surprised at all. This was the first time the waiters saw such a beautiful girl. Just one look and his face turned red. When a person was beautiful to a certain extent, the aura that they brought with them was really not ordinary. Jiang City? Who had the ability to kill Hall Master Su? She didn't know anything yet, but to her, she would find it soon. Chapter 177. "I say, what's going on?" Lin Fan looked at the crowd and asked. These 3 people from Wandering Dragon sect really came out of nowhere. When did Martial Path Mountain snatch disciples from others? Even if they wanted to frame someone, they wouldn't do such a thing. Yuan Tianchu's expression was indifferent, as if it had nothing to do with him. Indeed, it had nothing to do with him, unless he had nothing better to do and was looking for something to do. Where did Feng Poliu go? There was no shadow. He suddenly felt that letting Feng Poliu be a helper was a wrong decision. There wasn't anything important on Martial Path Mountain. Usually, he was so bored that he would get flustered. What a headache. Wasting 100 silver for nothing. It seemed like he had to fire Feng Poliu after a period of time. Then, he locked his eyes on Zhang Tianshan. To do such a thing, maybe he was the only one. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Zhang Tianshan looked at Lin Fan. His gaze made me panic. Besides, I didn't do anything wrong. It was a good thing to promote Martial Path Mountain. He was the one who paid for it himself. If it were you, you would definitely be reluctant. "Did you do it?" Lin Fan asked. Without needing to ask, apart from him, who else could it be? There was no sect within 100 miles. This Wandering Dragon sect was a small sect, maybe even weaker than Martial Path Mountain. If not, the sect leader, deputy sect leader, and elder wouldn't all come out. Was there no one to command them, or did they place enough importance on Martial Path Mountain? His guess was right. Wandering Dragon sect didn't have a base like Martial Path Mountain, which had a mountain with many buildings. Apart from having fewer people, it was like heaven and earth. Wandering Dragon sect's building was a house that the 3 of them chopped down trees and pieced together. The wooden sign outside had the words Wandering Dragon sect written on it. This meant that the sect was established. "Sect leader, I didn't." Zhang Tianshan thought about it and decided not to tell him. Even if he told him, there was no benefit, so why not act like he didn't know? He was looking forward to what Ji Xiaojuan's actions would bring to Martial Path Mountain. It was always so exciting. Just thinking about it made him happy. "Like hell, I'll believe you." Lin Fan didn't believe what Zhang Tianshan said. However, if Zhang Tianshan didn't say it, then he had no choice. Within Jiang City, bang! A figure was directly thrown out by the staff of the casino, falling in the form of a parabola in the air, then lying heavily on the ground, motionless. Despair, utter despair. "If you dare to cause trouble again, I'll beat you to death." The staff of the gambling house scolded angrily. After that, he patted his butt and entered the gambling house. They often saw people like this. He was a gambler. Being polite to this kind of gambler was just asking for trouble. What he wanted was for him to be violent and directly throw him out of the casino. To the casino, If you had money, you were the boss. If you didn't have money, then hurry up and scram. Don't get in their way. Fong Poliu laid on the ground and looked at the blue sky. He did not have a single penny on him. As a consecrated elder, he received his first month's salary and threw himself into the gambling den. He fought for a day and a night before it finally ended. At this moment, a face appeared in his line of sight. Her face was beautiful, truly beautiful. She possessed a peerless beauty that would be unforgettable at first glance. Fong Poliu. Suing opened her mouth slowly, directly calling out Fong Poliu's name. Fong Poliu smelled the fragrance and saw the person. He got up and acted like he didn't know him. You recognized the wrong person. The moment he said this, he was about to turn around and leave. Huge waves rose up in his heart. What was going on? Why did Su Ying appear in Jiang City? You can act like I recognize the wrong person, but I think that if Insect Valley people know that you are in Jiang City, everyone here will die because of you. Su Ying said slowly. Her voice was really alluring, but when she said it, it sent a chill down one's spine, like she was talking about a terrifying matter. Fong Poliu stopped and turned his head to look at Su Ying. Naturally, he recognized this breathtakingly beautiful girl. Why did you come to Jiang City? I am not hiding in Jiang City. I am about to leave soon. I have nothing to do with the people here. Su Ying smiled. I am a hall head of 9 Bug Gang and received orders to come to Jiang City to search for 9 Demon. Do you know where 9 Demon is? If you do, then tell me. After completing the mission, I can return earlier. Fong Poliu smiled. Little Miss Su, stop joking. As the Su family little miss, how can you willingly work for 9 Bug Gang? Are you searching for something? Actually, you can tell me. With your Su family's ability, we can help you find it. Why would I need you to personally enter 9 Bug Gang? He couldn't understand the thoughts of these big family children. It gave one a feeling that they weren't sincere. It felt weird. People with money and power could do things that others didn't want to do. He was so bored. Su Ying couldn't stop him, but he didn't care. Of course, if people from Insect Valley appeared around, then they would definitely leave. After all, those people wouldn't speak so much nonsense to him. Su Ying smiled. I am not searching for something, I am just proving something. The commoners around looked at the two of them with a weird expression. One was a gambler who was tossed out of the gambling den. The other was an unbelievably beautiful woman. The two of them, whose identities didn't match, spoke to one another, which was a little weird. When the people in the gambling den saw that the gambler who was tossed out was actually talking to such a beautiful woman, they had some thoughts. Oh, you don't have money? No problem. I will give it to you. As long as you send her to our gambling den. How much? Pa! Fong Poliu instantly attacked, slapping the perverted person to the side. Normally, he wouldn't attack normal people. But sometimes one couldn't ask to die. Although it hurt a little when he slapped him, if Su Ying attacked, then his life would end. Little Miss Su, if there is nothing else, then I will take my leave. Fong Poliu cupped his fists and didn't continue talking to Su Ying. 9 Bug Gang had to get 9 Demon. That kid raising 9 Demon on Marshall Path Mountain wasn't a smart move. Someone would die. Su Ying didn't block Fong Poliu and was in deep thought about something. Why would Fong Poliu appear in Jiang City? Jiang City was such a small place, so there shouldn't be any experts. Fong Poliu was in Jiang City, and 9 Bug Gang lost 9 Demon here. Thinking about it, there was a connection. If Fong Poliu knew what Su Ying was thinking about, he would definitely yell, Please, stop your impossible conjecture. What the F***ck are you talking about? Fong Poliu was just passing by Jiang City and participated in gambling. Then, he unintentionally became a helper of Marshall Path Mountain and stayed here. It wasn't as complicated as he thought. Marshall Path Mountain. Young Master Lin, I think you should send 9 Demon out. To you, or the entire Marshall Path Mountain, 9 Demon isn't a good thing. Fong Poliu stood beside Lin Fan and said. Lin Fan laid on the chair and rubbed 9 Demon. He closed his eyes and enjoyed the peace of life. 9 Demon seemed to understand human words. Its 9 heads faced Fong Poliu and opened its mouth, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Like it was saying that if he dared to let his master abandon him, he would bite him to death. Lin Fan said calmly, It doesn't matter whether or not it is a good thing, but don't you feel that the nine-headed bug is useful? My palms were sore in the past, but after rubbing its head, I felt that the symptoms were much better. How could he not understand what phone polio meant? Didn't he say that Nine Demon was a problem? It would attract unnecessary problems. But the meaning behind those words was that Lin Fan couldn't offend those people, so it was best if he let it go. Phone polio was helpless. What nonsense! 9 demons, 9 heads were for him to rub? He really didn't know what to say. Should he say that young Master Lin was ignorant or that he was thinking too much? 9 Bug Gang was a terrifying existence to others. Normally, they wouldn't stop until they reached their goal. As long as they confirmed that 9 Demon was on Marshall Path Mountain, then Marshall Path Mountain could basically be disbanded. If not, the mountain would be wiped out. Suddenly, a voice spread over. As expected, it is here. Phone polio, I was thinking, why would you appear in Jiang City? So, you were the one who took 9 Demon. A person floated over from the sky and then slowly landed on the ground. Phone polio was stunned. Damn, where did this girl come from? How could she be so cunning to actually follow him all the way to Marshall Path Mountain? Lin Fan was still rubbing 9 Demon's head. He looked at the person and nodded his head. A decent girl. She was really beautiful. Her body was also really good, giving one a primal urge. However, he was a self-disciplined person and suppressed that urge. Suing ignored Lin Fan, her eyes locking onto Phone polio. Occasionally, she would look at 9 Demon who was being rubbed. Phone polio, pass 9 Demon to me, and I will act like I didn't see you. Su-ing said. She knew that Phone polio wasn't someone to be offended, but at the same time, she also understood that Phone polio didn't dare to offend her. Zhua City's Su family was a really strong family, to any side. No one was willing to go against them. Phone polio was helpless. Little Miss Su, didn't you see that 9 Demon was in someone's arms? This was their territory, and he was just a helper. Even if she wanted 9 Demon, no matter what, she had to understand the situation, right? Phone polio and Suing casually argued. Oi, I say, you really don't understand the situation at all, do you? Are you blind, or is there something wrong with you? The 9-headed bug is mine. What's the point of telling him so much? Lin Fan said. His tone wasn't good. It didn't feel good to be ignored by someone. Was it that he wasn't handsome enough? Or was it that he looked so helpless that she totally ignored his existence? Su Ying's eyes flashed coldly as she locked on a Lin Fan. She felt that he was a little arrogant. Who are you? Lin Fan replied, Marshall Path Mountain sect leader. As for your 9 Demon, it is in my hands. However, I like to call it 9-headed bug. If you want it, I can't give it to you. You should just leave and stop talking so much. Suing didn't expect that some sect leaders would be so arrogant. The person in front of her, she really didn't see anything shocking about him. Rage points plus 111. Lin Fan was pumped up. This girl wasn't normal. Breaking 100 in the first wave, she had a lot of potential and needed to be excavated. P.S. I recommend a book written by a friend, Absolute Strengthening. If you're interested, you could take a look. Chapter 178. Suing had seen many people before. For example, arrogant, confident, etc. However, these people usually didn't end up well. Or rather, tragic. This person who called himself the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader might be that kind of person. Your gaze is a little off. Is there a problem? Lin Fan asked. Marshall Path Mountain was really peaceful, and nothing huge happened every day. But sometimes, it wasn't that you wanted something to happen, but it was that things came to you and wanted to have some magical contact with you. Now, this beautiful girl appeared on Marshall Path Mountain and came to take the 9-headed bug. Maybe if a normal guy saw such a girl, not to mention the bug in his hand, even the bug in his body would be given to her without hesitation. But Lin Fan wasn't such a normal person. If you wanted to take something from my hands, you had to have some ability. Phone polio looked at Lin Fan and shook his head, telling him to stop talking and to communicate properly. The families of these 2 young juniors were not simple. If they would really fight, it was really hard to say who would win and who would lose. Rage points plus 123. Suing could see from Phone polio's expression that he acknowledged that 9 Demon was in his hands. Whether or not she could take it back wasn't up to him, but whether or not he was willing to give it to her. You killed 9 bug gangs one-eyed and Yangfei, right? She asked slowly. Their deaths had nothing to do with her, and she wouldn't shout about taking revenge. She had to think things through. No, Lin Fan said. He was lying. Although it had something to do with him, he could ensure that he didn't kill them on purpose. Cousin did it, and it had nothing to do with him. How would Suing believe what Lin Fan said? If he didn't kill them, then where did 9 Demon come from? Suing asked. Lin Fan said calmly, I picked it up. Feng Poliu was helpless. Young Master Lin, couldn't you say the truth? You are making things difficult for me. In the future, I won't dare to believe anything you say. Suing smiled. Her smile was like he was treating her like a fool. However, she didn't have a conflict with Lin Fan right away, continuing to ask, 9 bug gangs had Su disappeared after coming to Jiang City. Does that have anything to do with you? Hall Master Su? Lin Fan was confused. I don't know him. I don't know him at all. Are you mistaken? All right, if you come to Jiang City to search for missing people, maybe I can give you a clue. There's a wolf brigade near Jiang City, and there are demons in that forest. I think that when he came to Jiang City, he didn't know that there were demons there and entered by mistake. Perhaps the deadhead Su really wanted to climb out of the coffin and bring Lin Fan along with him. He pushed everything to the demons, and if the demons found out, they would cry for their parents. Are you still King human? He could even say these words. Demons and Martial Path Mountain were enemies. To demons, one day they would wipe out Martial Path Mountain. He had never seen someone who bullied demons like that. Demon? How can there be demons around Jiang City? Do you think I'm an idiot? Suing said. The distribution of demons was fixed, and experts chased them to the borders a long time ago. Jiang City was thousands of miles away from the border, so how could there be demons? Rage points plus 123. Feng Poliu couldn't take it anymore. Little Miss Su, there really are demons around Jiang City. He didn't lie to you. Maybe Head Su really met them at night. Papa. This slap to the face was too quick. Su Ying's expression turned ugly. Did he just say that he treated her as an idiot? Now it seemed like she was thinking too much. Su Ying was a little confused. There were really demons around Jiang City? Did Head Su and the others meet demons by chance? Instantly, Su Ying couldn't understand the truth. It was obviously different from what she thought. Lin Fan looked at her. She really believed it? Although the demons existed, she was just too good at pushing the blame to others. I don't care how they died. Are you sure you won't pass 9 demon to me? Su Ying stared at Lin Fan. Her main goal was to find 9 demon. Lin Fan looked at Su Ying, and the two of them exchanged glances, and I won't give it to you. His reply was really direct, without any hesitation. He was just so decisive and quick. Rage points plus 222. Lin Fan was in a good mood. The rage points that this girl provided were not bad. He got the 9-headed bug in his arms, so he didn't think about returning it to others. He swore in his heart. He was going to fight 9 bug gang to the death. However, seeing that Feng Poliu knew this girl, he didn't attack. They exchanged glances with one another. Okay, this is your choice. I won't snatch it. Naturally, I will take back what belongs to 9 bug gang. I hope that you don't regret it. Su Ying didn't say anything more, turning around and leaving. She looked towards Feng Poliu. Don't worry, I won't tell Insect Valley that you are in Jiang City. Feng Poliu blinked. Did you want me to thank you for your words? Young Master Lin, like I said, you should return 9 demon. Feng Poliu said. He didn't think that with young Master Lin's strength, he could fight 9 bug gang. Even if young Master Lin was strong and exceeded his imagination, it wasn't enough to deal with such a huge monster like 9 bug gang. Who is she? Lin Fan asked. He didn't care about 9 bug gang. When he saw this girl, he noticed that she looked similar to a person. Vaguely. Not especially similar, but there were some areas that were similar. Feng Poliu said, she is the hall head of 9 bug gang. Of course, compared to her real identity, the difference is huge. She is the Su family young miss, Zwa City's Su family. No wonder. He thought back to Su Gang, who he beat up in Yu City. That was the 7th miss of Su family. However, he didn't beat her up. Cousin beat her up and it had nothing to do with him. Oh, Lin Fan nodded his head and understood her background. It was City Sioux family. He was a little far from these big cities and families, so he didn't think about heading over. The main reason was that his strength didn't allow him to. Say, if I had attacked her just now, would you have stopped me? Feng Poliu smiled no. Lin Fan was satisfied. It seemed like the 100 silver was worth it. However, what he said next made Lin Fan feel uncomfortable. You aren't as strong as her. If you want to stop me, I have to stop suing. Damn, those words were a form of humiliation. He was already so strong, but someone actually said that he couldn't beat a woman. Lin Fan looked at Feng Poliu. Brother, is what you said true? Feng Poliu said, Young Master Lin, you know the current situation. Suing might not do anything to you, but she will definitely tell 9 Bug Gang where 9 Demon is. When that happens, what you have to face will be a little complicated. I think you should just send 9 Demon back. Why do you have to hold on to this? Suddenly, before Feng Poliu finished, he screamed out. 9 Demon had left Lin Fan's embrace and bit Feng Poliu's butt. Its 9 heads bit down heavily, and one could see many weird colors appearing in its 9 heads. Young Master Lin, make him let go. He is poisonous, I poo. In a short moment, Feng Poliu's face turned green like he was poisoned. 9 Demon let go and looked at Feng Poliu viciously. Its eyes were filled with fierceness like it was saying that if he dared to speak any more nonsense, it would bite him to death. Feng Poliu sat on the ground and closed his eyes to heal. 9 Demon's poison was really strong. Even if it was weak now, its poison wasn't a joke. Lin Fan looked at the 9-headed bug with a weird expression. This little thing was actually so amazing. Although he didn't know how strong Feng Poliu was, he definitely wasn't weak. Such a strong person was poisoned by the 9-headed bug. That was enough to show that the 9-headed bug wasn't ordinary. Not long later, Feng Poliu opened his eyes. His expression returned to normal as he stared at 9 Demon in rage. If 9 Demon was fully grown, he would lose half of his life with that one bite. How do you feel? Lin Fan asked. You want to know how Feng Poliu felt when he was bitten? Only by knowing 9 Demon's specific traits could he use it well in the future. Pain. Feng Poliu glanced at Lin Fan and didn't want to say anything more. Forget it, forget it, forget it. He felt like there was no point in saying anything more. That night, Su Ying left Jiang City and came to Wolf Brigade. Although she believed what he said in the day, she wasn't too sure. How could there be demons around Jiang City? She had never heard of such a thing. A cold wind blew over. Su Ying exhaled. It was a little cold. The temperature at the edge of the forest was really low, much lower than before. She stood there and looked at the forest. It was really dark, and she couldn't see anything at all. Why would there be demons here? Su Ying stood on the spot and didn't dare to move. Although she didn't believe it, she was still hesitant. Little Miss Sue, I think you should choose to believe. Just at that moment, Feng Poliu walked out from the darkness. He knew that Su Ying would come to Wolf Brigade to take a look. Su Ying was really strong, but if she entered the forest and was surrounded by demons, she didn't have much confidence in retreating. Feng Poliu, tell me the truth. Are you staying on Marshall Path Mountain because of 9 Demon? Su Ying asked. Feng Poliu smiled, of course not. Although 9 Demon is good, to develop him, even 10 of me might not succeed. Also, I think you should act like you didn't see 9 Demon. Don't tell 9 Bug Gang about this. It will benefit both your Sioux family and yourself. Kiki. Su Ying laughed in disdain. I didn't expect that you would be threatened. Why? What is his background to actually let you find me in the middle of the night just to tell me that? Feng Poliu said, his father is Lin Wani. Su Ying. That is why I came to tell you not to tell 9 Bug Gang. It won't benefit you at all. If you tell 9 Bug Gang and experts come, causing him to die, then Lin Wani will really target you. Even if you're the Sioux family big miss, you won't have a good life. Don't be stubborn. Reality is like that. Feng Poliu told Su Ying the truth. As long as one wasn't stupid, one would know what they could and couldn't do. Chapter 179. Feng Poliu said all this and hoped that Su Ying wouldn't cause trouble. Although Yu City Lin family wasn't a strong family, She couldn't handle Lin Wanni's strength. He was really rash. If he knew that she indirectly killed his son, he would definitely go all out against her. Even if the Su family had many experts, they wouldn't be able to keep her alive. Lin Wanni, that heartless person. Su Ying's face was cold. The rage that shouldn't have existed burned once more. And what heartless person? Feng Poliu turned into a gossipy man like he had heard a huge secret. He didn't understand. Did Su Ying and Lin Wanni have some unspeakable secret? But that was impossible. Lin Wanni was already that old, and Su Ying was so young. The two of them definitely wouldn't have crossed paths. It was definitely something else. Su Ying didn't say much. Her aunt used to have a relationship with Lin Wanni, but Lin Wanni abandoned her aunt, causing her aunt to be alone until now. Su Ying took a look at Feng Poliu before walking into the distance. "Oi, little Miss Su, think about it. Don't do stupid things." Feng Poliu shouted. Instantly, a low roar spread out from the dark forest. Feng Poliu was so frightened that he retreated right away. He didn't have the time to compete with the Yin demons. These things were all crazy, and once they caught someone, they wouldn't stop until one of them died. However, he was really curious. What was the heartless person that Su Ying mentioned? Since he had already revealed a little, then why not reveal more? Anyway, he definitely wouldn't reveal it. Marshall Path Mountain. Little bug, can you understand what I say? If you can, then nod your head. Lin Fan placed the 9-headed bug on the table. One human and one bug looked at one another and chatted. The 9-headed bug's 9 heads stared at Lin Fan and really nodded. Little bug, tell me, with your current poison, you can't poison me to death? Lin Fan asked. He really wanted to know what the 9-headed bug's 9 heads were for. Since it was a treasure of 9 bug gang, it definitely wasn't ordinary. The key was that he didn't know what the poison was like. After seeing that Feng Poliu was fine, his heart started to get restless. The 9-headed bug shook its head. It didn't understand why Master asked that question. Refresh. He raised the bug controlling technique to the max realm. Come, bite with 1 head. Lin Fan stretched out his finger and placed it in front of 9 demon. He really wanted to see what it felt like. It was the first time, and he was so nervous that he even went to wash his hands. He was afraid that it would be dirty and cause a bacterial infection. Of course, he also rinsed the 9-headed bug's mouth to prevent it from having bad breath. But at least for now, the 9-headed bug was still very clean and had no smell. Bite. Following Lin Fan's command, the 9-headed bug bit down. There wasn't much of a feeling. It was as if the skin of his finger had been bitten by something very small. Very soon, 9 demon let go and just looked at its master in a daze. Is he sucking my venom? Lin Fan looked at his finger and realized that the color of the skin on his finger was gradually changing. It had turned black and red. Although it was just a small piece, he could clearly feel it. Sizzle. The blood on the tip of his finger was boiling, as if there was a flame burning. Fire poison? The poison was very weak. Perhaps it was because the 9-headed bug was very weak, or perhaps it had not injected too much venom, so it did not feel uncomfortable. He could use internal strength to force it out of his body. However, he tried to use the bug-controlling technique's gray internal strength. Very quickly, the gray internal strength swallowed the poison, leaving nothing at all. He then told 9 demon to use its other heads to bite his finger. Each poison was different, and each head represented a different poison. Blood coagulated, nerve-numbing, illusion poison. His skin was covered in frost. Wait, 9 special poisons proved that the 9-headed bug was different. In the future, when he really developed it, it would make him feel really good. After feeding it a mouthful of bug-controlling technique internal strength, he waved his hands and told it to sleep in his doghouse. Marshall Path Mountain, in the night. Yuan Tianchu stood outside Liang Yongqi's room and knocked on the door. He asked, "Are you asleep?" Liang Yongqi wasn't asleep, and when he heard the knocking, he wanted to open the door. However, when he heard the owner of the voice, he was shocked. He hid on the bed and pretended to be asleep. Damn, why did this fellow come to find him at night? He didn't understand. This was why he didn't open the door, to keep a distance from Yuan Tianchu. He really felt that Yuan Tianchu had a problem with his brain, and it was really serious. Thinking about it, when did this start? When he was in U City, he didn't feel that there was anything wrong with Yuan Tianchu. Only when he left U City and came to Jiang City did he realize that there was something wrong with Yuan Tianchu's brain. That kind of thinking wasn't something that normal people could have. He hid in his bed for a long time, and he listened to the movement outside. There was no sound, and that person should have left. Who? How terrifying! Liang Yongqi exclaimed. When he looked at Yuan Tianchu, his heart felt cold. Outside the door, Yuan Tianchu knew that Liang Yongqi wasn't asleep, and he was avoiding him. Towards that, he expressed his regret. There were just too few people who could understand him. Yuan Tianchu didn't want to tell anyone, but for some reason, he felt like he didn't want to say it out. During the day, someone found Marshall Path Mountain. He had been peeking and noticed that things slowly became complicated. However, that girl was really beautiful. He had never seen such a beautiful person in his life. However, she was related to 9 Bug Gang, and she came to Marshall Path Mountain to take away the 9-headed bug. He was thinking about it. Wasn't it just a 9-headed bug? Why keep it by his side and cause problems? He thought about it carefully. He realized that there was a huge problem here. Lin Fan didn't hand the 9-headed bug over because he wanted things to happen to cause Marshall Path Mountain to clash with 9 Bug Gang. The effects would be terrifying. Yuan Tianchu still didn't understand some details. He felt that things weren't so simple. He just wanted to talk to Liang Yongqi, but who knew that he would avoid him. When things really happened, don't blame him for not reminding him. That was because he didn't cherish it. The next day, Lin Fan casually walked around Marshall Path Mountain. He was thinking about something. This matter had something to do with Feng Poliu. That was because his words hurt his pride. I'm actually not that woman's match. Other people could bear with it, but he couldn't. If he didn't want to, then he had to think of a way to get rage points to raise his cultivation. The only thing that could give him large amounts of rage points was the Yin demons. Yin demons lived near Jiang City. When he had nothing to do, he would be more active. Su Ying's appearance in Jiang City let many merchants know that a beautiful girl came to the city. Some of them had thoughts in their hearts. Although they had many wives and concubines, they didn't mind having too many women around them. Naturally, some people would send gifts. To capture a girl's heart, one had to be willing to pay a huge price. However, regretfully, those investments couldn't be returned. Of course, there were some who directly went to find beauties. However, the outcome was tragic. They were kicked out onto the streets, such that many people didn't dare to offend them. These vulgar fellows. Su Ying wasn't in a good mood, especially when she knew that the person who got 9 Demon was Lin Wani's son. The rage in her heart was tough to extinguish. She stood in front of the window of the inn and looked at the scenery of Jiang City. Suddenly, she saw a familiar face appear on the streets, but that familiar person instantly disappeared. It's him. Su Ying recognized who that person was. He was from 9 Bug Gang. It seemed like after she came out, someone in the gang was worried about her and was sending people to follow her. When he looked again, he found that the person had disappeared without a trace. He knew that I noticed him, so he hid. Su Ying frowned and felt that things weren't so simple. That person purposely let her notice him. What news was he trying to reveal? She was a guy who showed that he liked her many times in 9 Bug Gang. However, she didn't like such a person. If there was anyone in 9 Bug Gang who wouldn't harm her, Shinyu was one of them. Under normal circumstances, if 9 Bug Gang people followed someone, they definitely wouldn't let the person notice them. However, she noticed Shinyu. That could only mean one reason. Actually, there was someone else. He purposely let her notice him to send a message to her. Su Ying left the window. Not long later, she stood in front of the window and looked at where she noticed Shinyu. How regretful. She didn't see anyone. That night, outside the walls of Jiang City, a few people sneakily stood at the corner of the city walls. One of them was Chunyu. I didn't expect to follow her to Jiang City. There are actually Yin demons around here. The male who spoke was a hall head of 9 Bug Gang. His face had several scars. They were like centipedes, looking really vicious and terrifying. Gang leader didn't trust Su Ying at all, so he sent them over. As expected, as the gang leader said, there was something wrong with Su Ying. They all saw how Su Ying went up the mountain. When she met the people on the mountain, they saw it too. As expected, there was something wrong with her. "Chen Yu, come over," the male said. The people around kept silent and didn't show any weird expressions. Chen Yu walked in front of the male. Just as he was about to speak, his eyes opened wide. Fresh blood seeped out from his throat as he looked at him in disbelief. The male laughed coldly. "You purposely exposed yourself to let Su Ying know that we were following you, right? But you're still too young. Don't forget that there are so many of us. How can we not notice your problem?" The moment he said that, he pulled back his finger. Large amounts of fresh blood flowed out. He fell to the ground, not breathing at all. Freeing demons to not come and eat a city, apart from having experts, there are other reasons. He searched. Very quickly, he found a reason. In the darkness, a red light shone at the corner of the walls. If one didn't pay attention, one wouldn't be able to notice it. Chapter 180. Hall Head, what are these things? The people following didn't react to Chen Yu's death. Like the one who died in front of them wasn't a human, but a dog. This is a very ancient method. I don't know the specifics, but the gang leader once said that if there's a red light outside a city, we can dig up the soil and dig out the things inside. There will be a surprise. Hee. His laughter was dark and sunken. He knew what the surprise was, but he just said it to others. He dug out the dirt, and, as expected, there was a stone inside. He took it out. Jiang City didn't change at all, but to the Yin demons, they could see the changes happening. "Go, let's go." The male spoke, swiftly fleeing into the distance. That direction wasn't where the Yin demons were, nor towards the city. It wouldn't be long before a shocking scene occurred. When they saw the Hall Head run so quickly, they were really curious. What would happen? They didn't enter the city and instead left this place. Was something dangerous going to happen? In the distance, Wolf Brigade Forest. The Yin demons retreated to the center of the forest. The small Yin demons moved like spiders, landing on the ground on all fours. One could say that they used both their hands and feet, moving really quickly. To the Yin demons, it was okay even if they didn't eat or drink for years. But the taste of flesh and blood was just too delicious. If they could eat it forever and never get sick of it. Suddenly, a Yin demon landed from the giant tree. Just now, he climbed onto the tree and looked at Jiang City. That was their paradise, but the light that covered it was too eye-piercing. He wasn't used to it. Suddenly, the eye-piercing light disappeared. The Yin demon that landed roared, sending some sort of message to the surrounding Yin demons. Many Yin demons raised their heads, climbing the giant tree to the highest point and looking into the distance. The red gem-like eyes of the Yin demons gave off an eye-catching glow, getting brighter and brighter like they saw something that made them really excited. They raised their heads and roared, spreading the joy in their hearts. The place that they treated as food didn't have the eye-piercing light anymore. Without the light covering the city, it will be our hunting ground. Many big Yin demons woke up from their slumber. They bore with it for too long and finally received good news. Humans, a big Yin demon roared out in rage. He was tortured by humans before, and his heart was twisted. "King, the human city isn't protected by the blinding light. We can enter and swallow all the humans." The big Yin demon said. There was no movement from the empty stone throne. Then, a black mist appeared on the stone throne, slowly forming a Yin demon on the throne. That female Yin demon appeared. "All right, eat all the humans." The female Yin demon's voice was ice cold and didn't have any emotions at all. If it was in the past, she definitely wouldn't let the Yin demons enter the city to eat all the humans. That was because if they ate them all, there would be nothing left to eat in the future. But now it was different. Those humans on Marshall Path Mountain did such a thing to the Yin demons, and they remembered this hatred in their hearts. In an instant, all the Yin demons moved out. They surged out of the forest and charged towards Jiang City, which wasn't covered by the light. The Yin demons were really quick. It was much faster than before, as if they were about to take revenge. They were very excited. Marshall Path Mountain. Rumble. Honglong. Zhang Tianshan was woken up. He felt the ground shake like there was an earthquake. He was a little unhappy. Who wasn't sleeping in the middle of the night? Which bastard was hammering things outside? However, when he pushed open the door, he didn't see anyone. However, the rumbling became clearer and clearer. He raised his head and noticed that there were many red dots in the distance. They were densely packed, like a red net. What is that? When he was woken up, he was definitely annoyed. However, when Zhang Tianshan looked towards Jiang City, his expression changed. Not good. He didn't think much running right away. He wanted to knock on Lin Fan's door. The light that blocked the demons disappeared. Who did it? How could he do such a thing? This would cause many people to die. No, not to kill a lot of people, but to kill everyone in River Town. Pa pa pa. Zhang Tianshan looked at Lin Fan's door and hollered in panic. Wake up! Wake up! Something huge has happened. He was shouting a lot. Zhou Zhou Mao had woken up long ago. Feng Polio was the same. Such a huge commotion made it tough for him to sleep. What are you doing? Lin Fan opened the door. Zhang Tianshan's hand landed and was grabbed by Lin Fan. Zhang Tianshan, why aren't you sleeping? What do you want to do? Zhang Tianshan panicked. Something happened. Jiang City is in trouble. Someone broke the formation we set up, and demons have moved out. Looking at the situation, if we don't stop them, no one in Jiang City will be able to live in a night. What? Lin Fan pushed Zhang Tianshan aside and looked at the red light. There were definitely many of them. If they all surged into Jiang City, no one would be able to survive. Who was sick in the head to break the formation for no reason? If one didn't want to live, then don't harm others. Looking at the situation, in at most 20 minutes, the demons would enter. At that time, even if he wanted to stop them, he wouldn't be able to. Lin Fan frowned. His palms were sweaty. Grab my weapons, head to Jiang City. He thought about it for a moment. Before even blinking, he decided to head to Jiang City. You are crazy. You will die if you go. I can't let you go. Zhang Tianshan stopped Lin Fan. He panicked because he knew what was going to happen, but he didn't expect the kid to actually want to go. Your father entrusted you to me, so I can't let you die. Even if everyone in this city died, he would complete what Lin Wani asked him to do. I took his money, so I have to protect him. Jiang City gave me protection money, so I have to protect him. I'm not a person who goes back on his word. If you don't have the ability, then don't take the money. Cousin, Feng Polio, follow me. As for the rest, stay on Marshall Path Mountain. Don't head out to die. I don't have the time to protect all of you. Lin Fan said. Yuan Tianchu was really afraid. Was that surnamed Lin guy finally going to kill them? But when he heard those words, he was shocked. What was wrong? He didn't want us to go? Or was he thinking too much? No. Zhang Tianshan stopped Lin Fan. He was really firm and didn't want Lin Fan to go. Although the protection money made him confused, now wasn't the time to think about such things. He definitely wouldn't let Lin Fan go to die. Pa! Lin Fan directly knocked Zhang Tianshan out. How annoying. Go Z, help him down. Go Z held up Zhang Tianshan and said worriedly, Young master, I will follow you. Okay, just stay on Marshall Path Mountain and don't run anywhere. If I die, then go back and tell my father to wipe out the demons and 9 bug gang. Lin Fan said. To Lin Fan, this money was tough to earn. But since he took it, what else could he do? No matter whether or not it worked, he had to take it. Feng Polio looked at Lin Fan. He only took 100 silver a month and had to face such a difficult matter. That was a huge loss. Actually, even if Lin Fan didn't let him go, he would still go. So many people in the city died to the demons, he couldn't take it. It was okay if he didn't know, but now that he knew, he couldn't do such a thing. Let's go. Lin Fan waved his hands, and the 3 of them swiftly went down the mountain. They were really quick and didn't hide at all. It was a race against time. If they were late and the demons entered the city, then it would be useless. Young master, Go Z wanted to chase, but Liang Yongqi pulled him back. Don't be rash. They're not weak, and they're confident. If you go, you'll just be holding them back. Listen to me, the chief disciple, and stay here. Also, hurry up and wake up the vice sect leader. Maybe he can think of a way. Liang Yongqi had never seen such a scene before. Didn't he see the red light floating in the distance? Too many. There were just too many. The ground was shaking. As the red light got closer, the tremors got stronger and stronger. It was like a huge army was attacking. At the same time, there were some shocking sounds. Just listening to these sounds was enough to make one shudder. He knew that something huge had happened. However, Lin Fan's actions made him look at him differently. He didn't stay out of this, and even welcomed it. He was asking to die. Jiang City. I'm a little nervous. Lin Fan's hands are covered in sweat. This was the first time he faced so many demons, and he didn't know whether or not he could hold on. Zhou Zhongmao's expression was solemn. He wasn't afraid at all. His only thought was that if he couldn't hold on, he would send Cousin away. The people in the city weren't important to him. They weren't even worth a single strand of his cousin's hair. He followed Cousin over because he listened to Cousin. Whatever Cousin wanted to do, he would unconditionally be the first to do. If there was danger, he would send Cousin away before he died. Young Master Lin, if the Demon King appears, I will deal with it. At that time, I might not be able to take care of you. Feng Poliu said. He sensed that there was an extremely powerful aura among the demons that were attacking him. It was obvious that the Demon King had attacked. I don't need you to take care of me. I can do it. Don't underestimate me. Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu smiled. Young Master Lin, I don't understand why you came. In such a situation, the three of us are still too weak. It is hard to say whether or not we can survive. Didn't I say it before? I took their money to help them. The Jiang City people gave me silver to let Marshall Path Mountain protect them. Since I took the money, then I have to do it. Lin Fan said casually. Ha ha ha. Feng Polio laughed out loud. I didn't expect that to be the reason. Young Master Lin, respect, I really respect you. Before the demons arrived, Lin Fan observed the surrounding situation. F*CK, your mother. Which damned bastard was the one who did all this for no reason? Now he was nowhere to be seen. What the F*CK were you doing earlier? If he found out who it was, he would definitely smash his head. P.S. Thank you, I am stunned. Elder's reward. Chapter 181. A loud explosion spread into their ears. The ground shook. Jiang City faced its most dangerous moment since it was built. Destruction and new life were fighting. The balance of new life was tilting and destruction was about to arrive. The houses of the people in the city lit up. Many people were woken up. Was an earthquake coming? The animals were restless and uneasy. A terrified atmosphere covered the sky. Demons are here. Demons are here. When the guards resting on the city walls saw the movement, their faces turned ashen white. They ran out and shouted on the streets. He looked for a long while. He definitely wasn't wrong. Those floating red lights were the eyes of the demons. Outside the city, Lin Fan, Zhou Zhongmao, and Feng Poliu stood in a row. Some things can't be taken back. Lin Fan pulled out his blade. The tip landed on the ground. He placed his palm on the handle and looked into the distance. His gaze became sharp. Internal chi surged out of his body. The blade was covered in a layer of purple light. It was eye-catching and eye-catching. At that moment, the aura on their bodies slowly changed. A strong wind surged out from their legs and then wrapped around their bodies. Young Master Lin, don't be soft, otherwise we will be the unlucky ones. Feng Poliu smiled. Facing numerous demons, he was still able to smile calmly. Not many people in the world could do that. Lin Fan and the others didn't know much about Feng Poliu. They only knew that he loved to gamble and often entered the gambling dens. In the end, he would be tossed out. Now, Lin Fan felt helpless. Why did he take money? If he didn't, then he could stay out of this. Throwing his life away wasn't his style. Unfortunately, there was no regret. He took the money and promised them, so he had to do it. That was honesty. That was his principle. The demons were really quick, like a huge army galloping. The female demon walked over slowly and was protected by the demons in the middle. Those purple, devilish eyes gave off a terrifying glow. Jiang City was already in their pocket, and the living creatures inside were their food. The demons that covered the land and sky gave out sharp roars. There was also a weird smell. Feng Poliu covered his nose and acted like he couldn't take it. This smell covers the entire area. I really can't take it. Even if we can't take it, we have to take it. We can only fight them to the death. There's still a few hours to daybreak, so we can only hold on. Lin Fan didn't think that the three of them could wipe out the Een demons. That was just a dream. Even if he reached Martial Path Grade 12, it would be impossible. However, it was still possible for him to hold on. Rumble. The Een demons stopped in front of Lin Fan. The distance between the two of them was just 100 meters. Get out of my way. A big Een demon pushed the small Een demons aside. His giant body was like a small mountain as he roared. Humans, you are hitting a rock with an egg. Later on, we will rip you apart, drink your blood, and swallow your flesh and blood. Young Master Lin, it would be good if we could delay for a while. Why not have a good chat with the Een demons? Feng Poliu said. If they really couldn't communicate, then it wouldn't be too late. However, looking at the situation, the Een demons had things to say, so why not give them a chance to chat? Who knows? Maybe the sky would turn bright as they talked. At that time, everything would be fine. That is what I was thinking. Lin Fan agreed with Feng Poliu's words. He wasn't a person who liked to fight, especially with so many Een demons. If they really fought, it would be tiring. I have something to say. Lin Fan stepped forwards and said towards the Een demons, there is a misunderstanding between us. A while ago, a big Een demon came to Martial Path Mountain. I didn't know and did some unfriendly things to him. I want to say sorry to that big Een demon. In the future, such things won't happen, definitely not. Rage points plus 222. Rage points plus 111. Many rage points surged over. It was as if he had said something wrong, or perhaps he had touched their sore spot. He felt like he didn't say anything wrong and that everything was normal. Feng Poliu was expressionless, but huge waves rose up in his heart. My dear young Master Lin, couldn't we say something more reliable? Why do we have to say all that? It was so hurtful. Human. Instantly, a big Een demon flipped several small Een demons and walked out from the darkness. His red eyes gave off a cruel glow. He would never forget what happened during that period of time. What happened during that period of time caused huge damage to his heart. Lin Fan looked at the familiar big Een demon and smiled. So you are here too. I'm so sorry that your body and soul suffered heavy injuries. Looking at you, you should have recovered. If there's a chance, Martial Path Mountain welcomes you. You are really mysterious to me, and I want to understand you more. Of course, if you can let your king, that female Een demon, come to Martial Path Mountain to let me check her body, I think it will deepen the relationship between humans and Een demons. His words were loud, and many of the Een demons heard it clearly. What did he say? What was this human saying? Was he insulting their king? Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. Rage points plus 66. Rage points plus 88. The numbers fluctuated greatly. The current situation was really rare. He had a fight, and there was no room for retreat. Since that was the case, then what was the point of saying nice things? Provoking them was the best choice. The increase in rage points was the only way for him to become stronger. If he could make the Een demons leave just by saying nice things, he could give up on this chance. But if saying nice things to the Een demons was useful, then not so many people would have died. The Een demons wouldn't have been suppressed by the experts at the borders. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan with a weird expression. Big brother, I told you to communicate with the Een demons, to get closer to each other so that both sides wouldn't be rash. But you said all that to the Een demons and even teased their king. Were you going to fight to the death? 100 silver was a huge loss. Of course, he knew that no matter what he said, the outcome would be the same. Een demons wouldn't let him off just because he said nice things. Instead, they would enjoy the delicacy in front of them. The Een demons' roars became more and more chaotic. The big Een demon who was being tortured roared out, "Eat them for me." He roared out crazily and was already in a frenzied state. Calm. The Een demons roared out, venting the rage in their hearts. Remember, don't split up. Cousin, don't be rash. Lin Fan held the blade tightly. The highest internal and external cultivation strength exploded out. He couldn't hide it and had to use all his strength. Understood, cousin. Zhou Zhongmao replied. Thick internal chi wrapped around his body. He wanted to step on all these Yin demons to death. Those who disturbed his cousin's sleep all deserve to die. Attack! Lin Fan held his blade and hollered. Lightning blade 4 strokes exploded out. In a short moment, it formed a blade glow net, covering a bunch of small Yin demons and slicing them into pieces. Amazing! Feng Poliu was shocked. He didn't expect young Master Lin's cultivation to be so strong. Lin Fan didn't hold back at all. Each blade was filled with his full strength. To other people, such a blade would consume internal strength quickly. But to Lin Fan, it was fine. His stamina and internal strength were filled, and he felt like he didn't consume any energy at all. The three of them didn't split up. They were wary of the situation in the 3 directions. Feng Poliu was wary of whether or not the Yin Demon King would mix in with the Yin demons. If she appeared, he would fight her one-on-one. After all, he was the only one who could restrict her. Time passed really quickly. The attacks of the Yin demons were really dense and didn't give them any space to slow down. You fellows are just too annoying. Lin Fan hollered. Internal chi rumbled out. The blade glow in his hand became thicker and thicker. He slashed out. A crescent blade, light, slid on the ground, tearing a hole in the ground. How long? The blade light sliced open the Yin demons. The special element caused huge damage to them. Big Dipper silence palm. Zhou Zhongmao's body gave off a black mist. This was the aura that exploded out when he activated Demon Enforcing Heart Scripture to the highest level. The battle was exceptionally intense. Yin demon corpses piled up on the ground, increasing in number. However, their attacks didn't slow down. Even if many small Yin demons were killed, they weren't afraid at all. Instead, they became fiercer and fiercer. Young Master Lin, don't use so much strength. The Yin demons are using them to waste our stamina. Feng Poli noticed the problem. His eyes locked onto the Yin Demon King. Her purple eyes were just too eye-catching. She looked at the small Yin demons die one after another. She didn't react at all. It was obvious that she expected such a situation. Her goal was obvious. She wanted to use the small Yin demons to drag them to death. Zhou Zhongmao panted. His forehead was covered in sweat. Even if his internal strength was thick and his combat strength was unparalleled, he was still human. As long as he was human, there would be a time when he would run out of energy. The Yin demons didn't give them a chance to catch their breaths. Wave after wave. The moment they slapped out, another wave of Yin demons would head up. This was why even a martial path grade 12 expert would have a 90% chance of dying if he entered the Yin demon territory at night. The chances of him surviving were just too slim. Lin Fan noticed that Cousin's body was injured by the Yin demon's claws. Fresh blood flowed from his wounds, and his skin was a little black. Were the Yin demon's claws poisonous? Cousin, stand behind me. I will protect you. Lin Fan felt heart-pained. These damn fellows, as long as they survived tonight, they would trample the Yin demon base. He didn't want to use cheats to bully them, but they were too much. Did they really think that he was easy to offend? He wanted to let everyone know that as long as one was named Lin Fan, no one was easy to offend. It is okay, cousin. I am okay. Zhou Zhongmao said. At that moment, the Yin demon's strategy changed. The small Yin demons retreated. Human, there is only one outcome for blocking us Yin demons, which is death. The big Yin demons appeared. His 3-meter-tall body gave off a strong sense of oppression. The 3-meter-tall big Yin demon wasn't their limit. There were even stronger Yin demons following closely behind. This was the top combat strength of the Yin demons, using the small Yin demons to waste the stamina of the 3 of them. Then, what followed next would be the true terror. P.S. Oh my God. Chapter 182. You all are a little dirty and despicable. Lin Fan always thought that Yin demons were dumb, but now it seemed like it wasn't the case. Yin demons were really smart. They knew that the 3 of them were strong enough to use the small Yin demons to waste their stamina. What a waste. Since the start of the battle, each blade was filled with strength, and he wasn't tired at all. However, Cousin and Feng Poliu were affected. Cousin was the one who was affected the most. Facing the flood-like demons, his stamina and internal strength were consumed quickly. Without any time to recover, the continuous consumption was something that no one could handle. Human, shut your mouth. Later I will stuff my fist in your mouth, pull out your tongue, smash your teeth, crush your eyeballs, and torture you. The big demon hollered in rage. Amazing, I didn't expect you all to be so playful. Later I will capture your demon king, rip her clothes, and use a whip to whip her. If you want to see, you can register with me. Lin Fan replied. Since things had reached such a stage, naturally there was no way back. He could only fight the demons head-on. Feng Poliu sighed. Could he not say such shameful words? Why did he have to anger the demons? That wasn't good for anyone at all. Lin Fan's words naturally tempted many demons. But very quickly, they came to their senses. This human was insulting their king. Zhou Zhongmao used this time to recover the internal strength that he consumed. Young Master Lin, I will fight the demon king. I will leave this place to you. Feng Poliu said softly. He was afraid that if this continued, the demons would drag them to death. If they killed the demon king, maybe they would have a chance to live. Lin Fan nodded his head. He also wanted to kill the demon king, but looking at the situation, she wasn't someone he could handle, so he could only leave it to Feng Poliu. However, the pressure that he had to face would slowly increase. Suddenly, a big demon appeared in front of Lin Fan. His expression was vicious as he waved his arms and slashed towards Lin Fan. I will split you into two and let your flesh and blood scatter on the ground. The big demons were really strong. They were all above martial path grade 7. Pucci, a blade light flashed. It was so fast that the naked eye couldn't catch it. The big demon stood on the spot, maintaining the posture of raising his arms. With a Pucci sound, the corpse split apart. You're still too weak. You're just seeking your own death by yourself. Lin Fan retracted his blade. He didn't feel excited because he killed a big demon. This was just one of the demons. There were many more who stared at him aggressively. The evil demon men roared angrily. Boom! Large amounts of big demons attacked and pounced towards Lin Fan. The boiling black mist had already condensed into a physical form, like many tentacles. One had to pay attention to it. Be careful. I'll go kill the demon king. Feng Poliu's body instantly turned into many bugs, passing the demons and heading towards the demon king. The female demon used her purple eyes to observe the situation. So you're from Insect Valley. The female demon smiled and looked at the person who appeared in front of her. Those bugs were so annoying, and she didn't like them. Even if Insect Valley was strong, she didn't fear them. Feng Poliu appeared and looked around warily. Since you know where I came from, then why don't we just forget it? We said those words, the surrounding temperature dropped. The ground was covered in a layer of frost. Forget it. Why don't you move aside and open the gates for us demons to enter? How about that? The female demon laughed coldly. Then, there is nothing to talk about. Feng Poliu said. He knew that demons couldn't be offended, but seemed like it wasn't. Demons wouldn't give him face. Without waiting for the demon king to attack, Feng Poliu raged and struck towards her. One needed special attributes to deal with demons. But to Feng Poliu, all of that wasn't a problem. He couldn't take care of Lin Fan's situation. He could only tell them to take care and not die. Lin Fan noticed that these big demons had a huge problem with him. They stared at him. That was good. It would reduce some pressure on Cousin. However, Cousin didn't need it at all. He pounced forwards to fight the big demon to the death. Honglong. A big demon's fist was wrapped in black mist and smashed into the ground, forming a giant hole. Lin Fan turned to the side and wanted to slice it in half. However, the moment he moved, another demon attacked from the side, not giving him a chance at all. You are a bully. Refresh. Lightning blade 4 strokes, adding them all to Big Dipper Silence palm. He stabbed the blade into the ground. His palms pressed down, and he hollered. His palms shook like an illusion. Lightning wrapped around them. Internal strength surged crazily from within his body. He felt that his internal strength didn't decrease at all, it was always so full. To Cousin, this was a really normal palm technique. Lin Fan even dissed that Cousin knew how to act cool. But now, when he displayed it, it was even stronger than his cousin's. Thigh-thick lightning wrapped around his body. This consumed internal strength. If normal people didn't have thick internal strength, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. He waved his palms. Lightning was like a dragon, piercing forwards. Many demons didn't even cry out before they turned to dust. A long while later, Lin Fan saw Cousin panting heavily. There were many injuries on his body, all from the attacks of the demons. Scram! He saw a big demon appear behind Cousin and was shocked. He instantly moved and appeared beside Cousin, smacking his body with a palm. Lightning surged in and exploded his body. Cousin, don't force yourself. Go to the city gate. Leave the rest to me. Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao shook his head. Even if there were piles of demon corpses around him, even 30 of them, he didn't fall. I can still do it. Lin Fan opened his fingers and used internal strength to pull. The blade that was stabbed into the ground flew over with a buzz. He then retreated and placed Cousin within the city gates. Be good. Don't move. Leave the rest to me. He couldn't let Cousin fight the demons. Cousin was already at his limit. His internal strength and stamina were about to dry up. In this battle, Cousin had already exploded out with shocking strength. Out of the big demons that Cousin killed, there were a few Martial Path Grade 10 cultivators. Facing so many of them, it wasn't easy for him to last until now. You really can't kill them all. Lin Fan really respected the demons. They were just endless. He knew that with the small support system, stamina and internal strength were endless and couldn't be used up at all. Looking at the demon army that didn't seem to be decreasing, Lin Fan held his blade. The blade tip landed on the ground, and he slowly walked forwards. The goal of life isn't to exist, but to burn. To me, it is to enjoy. My cousin is really honest. To him, the existence of life is to protect me. Now, I swear that in my life, I will wipe out all demons, not leaving a single one alive. The moment he said that, a shocking blade intent exploded out. The blade in Lin Fan's hand gave off an eye-catching glow. He was accumulating internal strength to use his strongest blade. Suddenly, demons attacked. At this moment, to slash out or to take it head-on and accumulate was all in Lin Fan's hands. He didn't think about it. He had already thought about it, which was to take it head-on. Maybe it would be painful, but he definitely couldn't cry out. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. Damn human, I will smash you into meat paste. The big demon's fist was covered in a thick black mist. There was a sonic boom. If one was hit by this fist, a few bones would break. Poochie, just at that moment. When Lin Fan thought that he was about to be hit, he noticed that the big demon's arm broke, like something flashed across. Slash! The blade in his hand was accumulated to the extreme as he slashed forwards. The crescent-shaped blade energy boiled, along with the lightning element. It sizzled like the air was numb. Instantly, the blade energy covered the demons. A moat was left on the ground. Amongst the demons, there was a gap. Many demons were shocked. They didn't expect such a situation to occur. However, it disappeared in a blink of an eye. The number of demons was too shocking, and very quickly they made up for the missing demons. It is you. Lin Fan looked at the person not far away. Su Ying stood on the city wall. Her extremely beautiful face was really calm. There was no expression at all. However, Su Ying's sleeves were torn like there was an intense battle before this. You really have balls. You even dare to block the demon army. Su Ying opened her mouth. Her voice was really nice, just that it was a little cold. Kiki, Lin Fan smiled. You really have balls. You know that there are demons, and you still dare to come. Pung. Just as the two of them spoke, a person flew over from afar and smashed onto the city wall. The city wall cracked, and a small hole appeared. Can the two of you stop talking? There are too many demons. I can't hold on. Feng Poliu's mouth bled as he grumbled towards Lin Fan and Su Ying. The demons were too cunning. He fought with the Demon King, but the other big demons would sneak attack. He really couldn't take it and nearly died within. Luckily, The Demon King was annoyed with him and smacked him out. Young Master Lin, I can't take it anymore. Poliu said. That was the truth. He really couldn't take it anymore. It was already a miracle that he was able to fight with the demons until now. As for relying on the few of them to chase the demons away, even if they were dreaming, they wouldn't dare to do it. Even if we can't, we have to. If we don't last till the end, who knows whether or not we can. Lin Fan said. Zhou Mao coughed. The wounds on his body still had demon poison left, but it wasn't much of a problem. Cousin, leave this to me. Cousin, don't force yourself. I can see whether or not you can. Just rest there. Lin Fan said. The situation now, it was a little complicated. Actually, he knew that he couldn't take it anymore. He was still too weak. A true expert would step out and his aura exploded, directly crushing all the demons in front of him. That was a true expert. However, he felt that he was still a little far away. What happened now shouldn't be something that someone of his age should be able to take. Chapter 183. What should we do now? Poliu asked. The demons didn't attack, as they knew that they were at the end of their rope, and there was no need to force them. Listen to the sounds in the city. Do you hear anything? Lin Fan asked. The city was really noisy. The demons caused too much commotion, and the commoners were woken up. However, no one dared to open the city gates, afraid that they would see the most terrifying scenes. Poliu nodded his head. There were heart-wrenching cries, terror, helplessness. When danger arrived, the commoners' hearts would collapse. So, since we're already here, if we want to retreat, then everything before would be for nothing. As long as we hold on until dawn, everything will be fine. Lin Fan said. His confident expression was, in fact, an act. He panicked deep down. Was he really going to die? He was still young and had many things he hadn't done. If he died here, it would be a huge loss. Dawn. To Poliu, this was such a long time. At the same time, he didn't expect the Demon King to be so strong. If not for the other big demons sneak attacking, it would be hard to say who would win and who would lose. Little Miss Sue, do you want to leave, or do you want to stay here and hold on with us until dawn? Poliu asked. If Suing stayed, there might be a bit of hope. After all, one more expert meant one more hope. Su Ying's expression was calm. It was impossible for her to leave. She knew that 9-Bug Gang did all this. When she killed those people, she found out from their mouths. Sick and evil. Those fellows were just too sick and evil. They didn't do that to deal with the Jiang City commoners, but to deal with her. Something started because of her, so she couldn't back out. Some things have already happened, and there is no way out. Even if I leave now, I won't be able to. Su Ying said. Her words indirectly expressed her stance, which was to stay with them to fight against the demons. Good. Su family little miss is a hero. I respect you. Poliu praised. A true family disciple. Naturally there would be geniuses. To him, Su Ying was the genius of Su family. Not only was she strong, but she was also responsible. Cousin, Uncle gave me a life-saving talisman before we left. Unknowingly, Zhou Mao had appeared behind Lin Fan. Cousin, rest well. Leave everything to me. Lin Fan said. Then, he was shocked. What did you just say? My father gave you a life-saving talisman. Hurry up and take it out. Zhou Mao took in a deep breath and looked at the flood of demons, shouting, Demon King, I have something to say. Please come out. His voice reverberated and spread amongst the demons. The demons exchanged glances with one another like they had received some sort of order and retreated to the sides. The female Demon King stood there. Her purple, devilish eyes gave off a teasing expression. These humans were strong, but in front of the demons, there were too few of them. Now, the other party had something to say. He could listen to what they had to say. This is my cousin, Lin Fan. My uncle is Lin Wani. My uncle said that as long as you let him go, he will help you do one thing, no matter what it is. Zhou Mao hollered. He had no choice. At such a time, even if he would make his cousin lose face, he had to say it. If not, If something happened, then he would regret it. Lin Fan wanted to hear what cousin said about the life-saving talisman. But when he heard these words, he was stunned. Oh my God, cousin, don't tell me that this was the life-saving talisman that you were talking about. The female demon was stunned, her pupils constricted. Lin Wani, that was an unforgettable name, a terrifying human expert. If anyone could let such a terrifying expert do something for them, it would be a huge benefit. But eat them. The female demon hollered in rage. She didn't hesitate at all. The demons roared and pounced towards Lin Fan and the others. Cousin, why do I feel like they are even angrier after you said that? You should head over and rest. Leave this to us. Lin Fan said. The female demon was furious. Lin Wani, that despicable human expert, tearing the contract and personally heading to the demon territory to suppress them. Even she was injured by that damn human. Zhou Zhongmao was shocked. What was going on? What was going on? Uncle told him that this was the best life-saving talisman. Who knew how many people in the world needed his promise? As long as someone knew that his cousin was his son, they would give him face. Zhou Zhongmao trusted his uncle's words. But now, he couldn't help but suspect whether or not he said something wrong or if he missed out on some important information. Suing covered her lips and smiled. Lin Wani was really arrogant, actually so confident in himself. He was slapped in the face. She wanted to see Lin Wani lose face. She wanted to take revenge for her aunt. But now, the demons surged over, and they could only fight to the end. How long? Lin Fan, Su Ying, and Feng Poliu's internal strength shook the surrounding air. Big Dipper's silence palm exploded out, giving off a bright glow. The blade in his hand broke long ago and couldn't take the internal strength that was injected in. Damn, too weak. He was still too weak. Lin Fan felt that sometimes it wasn't that danger came to find him, but that he would find danger himself. Some things were just too magical. If they didn't happen, he wouldn't dare to believe it. Like now, if he was just imagining things, would he step out when he faced such a situation? He definitely wouldn't, unless he was sick in the head. But when it really happened, he understood that he was sick in the head. After a long while, Lin Fan's body was covered in injuries. One could see the white bones in some places. Pain filled his brain, such that he nearly exploded. It was really painful, so painful that he was about to shout out. Cousin. Zhou Zhongmao's eyes were filled with rage. He gritted his teeth and gave out a beast-like roar. Instantly, a ferocious aura swept across the entire area, causing everyone to stop in their tracks. Cousin. Lin Fan turned his head and was actually a little worried. At this moment, Zhou Zhongmao's body was covered in thick black internal energy. His eyes seemed to be burning with flames. His clothes were torn and his body was covered in injuries. There were old and new injuries. Feng Poliu's eyes opened wide and muttered, "What did this kid go through in the past? It was impossible to find a piece of good skin on his body. That damning demon." Zhou Zhongmao hollered. A power connected all the acupoints and meridians in his body. A ferocious black giant ape floated behind him. It roared out, roaring towards the sky. How long? At that moment, a strong aura spread out with Cousin at the center. Cousin's knees bent, with a pong the ground cracked. He turned into a black light and jumped into the air. He landed quickly, raising his hands and smashing them onto the ground. Pong! The ground shook. Cousin landed in the center of the demons. The strong impact caused many of them to fly away. "You trash, you deserve to die." Zhou Zhongmao hollered in rage. He opened his fingers and grabbed a big demon, directly ripping it apart. Too fierce, just too fierce. Even the demons were stunned by Zhou Zhongmao. That's not right. Although his meridians were opened up, he shouldn't be able to use such strength. Feng Polio looked at the scenes in front of him in shock. He couldn't understand it at all. How did Lin Wani develop him? Damn, what are you looking at? Help! My cousin can't take it anymore. How could Lin Fan let cousin take the risk? Didn't he see that his cousin's body was bleeding? Was that the repercussions of being too violent? Hayes' despair. Feng Poliu had a feeling like he was going to die here tonight. He was a little tired and felt like he couldn't take it anymore. Cousin was really violent now, smacking the demons with one palm. However, there were just too many of them. More and more wounds appeared on his body. Fresh blood spurted out like a fountain and scattered all over the ground. A tough battle exploded. Suing and Feng Poliu were slowly injured. They were humans and not gods. Their bodies would get tired and their internal strength would dry up. Even when surrounded by so many demons, it was tough for them to fight back. Lin Fan frowned. The situation was getting worse and worse. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to hold on. Young Master Lin, why not you leave and leave this to me? I have no other skills, but I am not afraid of dying. Feng Poliu saw that the situation wasn't good and decided to let Lin Fan leave. There was no need to fight to the death. Kiki, what a joke. Even if you aren't afraid of dying, do you think I am? Did you see me sweat? I didn't even use any strength. Moreover, it doesn't matter. If I die, the demons will die along with me. Lin Fan said. He wouldn't run out of energy, and his internal strength wouldn't dry up. Su Ying's expression didn't change. Even if several wounds appeared on her body, she didn't frown. Little Miss Su, if such a beauty like you dies, it would be such a waste. This has nothing to do with you. Why not flee for your life? Lin Fan said. Su Ying glanced at Lin Fan. Shut up. Okay, I am not afraid. Then let's fight to the end. Lin Fan smiled and then looked at the demons. I will send you all to the heavens. The moment he said that, Lin Fan's palms smacked the ground. Numerous lightning crackled and surged out like snakes. Feng Poliu looked on with a weird expression. What was going on with this kid? His internal strength was so thick, would not dry up. However, he didn't think so much now. It was good that his internal strength hadn't dried up. He could continue to fight, but damn, the Demon King was going to attack. He was finished. Feng Poliu wanted to encourage himself, but he saw the Demon King disappear from the spot. In a blink of an eye, she was dozens of steps away from them. Be careful. The Demon King is attacking. Don't be careless. Instantly, the female demon appeared in front of Lin Fan and grabbed. Peng. Zhou Zhongmao instantly appeared in front of Lin Fan and took the Demon King's palm head-on. His chest caved in, and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Stay away from my cousin. Zhou Zhongmao hollered in rage and punched him. How long? Fist and palm clashed, causing an intense shockwave. If you want to hurt my cousin, then you have to step over my body. Zhou Zhongmao's swollen body stood in front of Lin Fan like a god protecting him. He would rather die than retreat. Chapter 184. Damn! Lin Fan saw cousin spit out blood, and rage exploded in his heart. Wrong. He was really wrong. Salted fish weren't like that. He felt that he was wrong from the start. Peaceful days were something that experts had the right to enjoy when they were tired. He didn't have the ability to do so now. When he faced danger, cousin helped him. But what if cousin couldn't handle it? Father will carry it? What if father couldn't handle it? At this furious moment, he realized that he understood everything. Seeing cousin block the Demon King for him, he found it hard to calm down. Although he had changed recently and was slowly raising his cultivation, he was still too lazy and had no motivation at all. Cousin, are you okay? Lin Fan asked. His chest was smacked by the Demon King. It was a bloody mess. There was even a black mist wrapped around it. Zhou Zhongmao's body shook. It was obvious that he was heavily injured, but he bore with it. He slowly turned his head, and his vicious expression disappeared. He smiled, cousin, I am fine. With me here, don't worry. After saying that, he turned his head and opened his mouth. He panted, and fresh blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He stared forwards with determination. He wouldn't let cousin see that he couldn't handle it. Today, all of you will die here. The female demon said coldly. These humans weren't worth mentioning in front of the demon army. They didn't even have a chance to fight back. She wanted to see how long these humans could last for. Feng Poliu said, Demon King, you are destroying your own future. His father is Lin Wani, and she is the Su family Missy. Do you think that if you kill them, Your Een demons can still exist? I think you should stop, and we can act like this never happened. Ha ha ha, you are threatening me? Een Demon King laughed. Human, do you think that threats will work? We Een demons don't fear anyone. The moment she said that, Een Demon King waved her hands. Kill. The Een demons couldn't wait any longer. They wanted to swallow all these humans. Not long later, Suing couldn't take it anymore. A few big Een demons took the chance to attack, and were about to kill Suing. Lin Fan hollered, Big Dipper Silence Palm exploded out. Lightning wrapped around it and directly killed the big Een demon. He grabbed Su Ying's shirt and tossed her to Foam Polio. He grabbed his cousin who was on the verge of collapse and shouted, Retreat to the city gate. Now, only he and Foam Polio had the strength to fight the Een demons. City gate. Take care of them. I will handle the rest. Lin Fan said. You can? Foam Polio panted. He was really tired. He never thought that one day he would fight the Een demon army head-on. How much courage did he have to have such thoughts? He felt that he was awesome enough. Normal people weren't to him. Lin Fan said, Who knows? Foam Polio looked at Lin Fan and sighed. If you die here, it would be such a waste. He cherished talents and felt that Lin Fan was not ordinary. Hee, it is indeed a pity. After all, he is a talent. However, there are many talents who die before they grow up. But if you want me to die, it won't be that easy. At the very least, you'll have to pay a painful price. With the current situation, there was no way to avoid it. If he made things too tense, the atmosphere would be stifling. He might as well look on the bright side. Lin Fan walked to the front and looked at the Een Demon King. You black and ugly old hag, remember this. If I, Lin Fan, don't die today, I will definitely trample the Een Demon race in the future. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Do you think you can do that? Let's talk after tonight. Kill them. The Een Demon King said coldly. He didn't put Lin Fan in his eyes at all. Perhaps to the Een Demon King, killing these humans was a piece of cake. The Een Demon army struck. Lin Fan didn't retreat and just stared right at the Een Demon army. He hoped that the bug controlling technique would give him a shocking effect. Refresh your stats. Bug controlling technique, returning to true. Circles of gray ripples spread out from Lin Fan's body. Foam Polio was shocked. This internal strength was. He looked at Lin Fan in disbelief. As expected, this kid cultivated the bug controlling technique. Moreover, the internal strength fluctuations seemed to be even higher than his. Kid, how far have you cultivated the bug controlling technique? Foam Polio asked. Lin Fan said calmly, the highest realm. Foam Polio was speechless. What did he say? The highest realm? Are you kidding me? The ground shook, dirt rolled, and many bugs crawled out from the depths of the ground. Under the buff of the gray internal strength, these bugs underwent shocking changes. Internal strength boiled. To normal people, it was tough to control too many bugs with their current martial path. They were also unable to use special internal strength to cause the bugs to change. But to Lin Fan, he didn't feel any consumption of internal strength. At this moment, more and more bugs surged out, and the ground was covered in them. Bug wall. Lin Fan hollered. Internal strength invisible to the naked, I turned into threads and guided each bug. The bugs moved and stacked together, slowly forming a bug wall. The bug wall was pitch black, 10 meters tall. The bugs that stacked together had shocking destructive strength. It totally separated the Een demons. Swallow. Lin Fan pressed down with his palms, and the bug wall collapsed, covering the Een demons in front of him. Instantly, there were roars. The bugs covered the Een demons and bit at them. It is useless. Although the bug controlling technique is strong, it is useless against Een demons. Foam Polio reminded. One could only use special element techniques to deal with Een demons. Otherwise, there was no other way. The female Een demon laughed coldly and gave out an ear-piercing sound. Pung, pung. The bugs exploded, unable to withstand the terrifying internal strength of the Een Demon King's voice. Insect Valley's bug controlling technique is strong, but it is useless against us Een demons. Everything in the world counters one another, and even the strongest cultivation technique is useless. Haha. The Een Demon King laughed out loud. As expected, it still couldn't work. Lin Fan didn't give up. Since that was the case, then he would take it head-on and see how long he could last. Gulyalu. Just at that moment, there was the sound of a small cart pushing. Then, there was the sound of explosions, followed by the screams of the Een Demons. Kid, I am here. Zhang Tianshan held a bamboo tube in his hand, crushing it and tossing it into the Een Demons. The eye-piercing light that exploded forced the Een Demons back, and they didn't dare to get close at all. Go Zi, Liang Yongqi, and Yuan Tianshu pushed the cart and followed behind. The small cart was filled with bamboo tubes. Yuan Tianshu was helpless. It was safe on Marshall Path Mountain, and there was no danger, but he was forced to follow. He felt that things weren't right, like someone wanted to harm him. But he had no choice. He could only follow. Young master, we are here to save you. Go Zi hollered. He was really anxious and afraid that something would happen to young master. When Zhang Tianshan took out his stock and was about to head down to save him, he followed without thinking. He knew that the Een Demons were terrifying and he was afraid, but there was a power supporting him such that he wasn't afraid of them. Very quickly, under Zhang Tianshan's lead, a path was opened up. Why did you all come? Lin Fan asked. To tell them not to come. Wasn't that just asking to die? Kid, how can I not come? Your father entrusted you to me, and if I let anything happen to you, he would beat me to death. Quickly return to Marshall Path Mountain. I will take care of this. Zhang Tianshan said. Lin Wani was one of his few friends, and he was a friend who treated him sincerely. In Zhang Tianshan's words, he was willing to sacrifice himself for his friend, even if he had to sacrifice his life. Now that his friend entrusted his son to him, if he couldn't even do such a small thing, then what was the point? Lin Fan said, What can you do? You can't. I can. Zhang Tianshan said. I said that you can't. I can. Lin Fan didn't argue with Zhang Tianshan. What was the point of them coming? Using these things to last till morning. Dream on. It wasn't enough at all. Een Demons, I advise you to open up this place. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Zhang Tianshan didn't fear the Een Demon King at all. He hollered and directly tossed the bamboo tube in his hand. An eye-catching light exploded out. The little Een Demon was injured and retreated. Even the big Een Demon felt really uncomfortable. Attack. The Een Demon King didn't say any nonsense and directly told the Een Demons to head up. Impolite? I want to see how much you can toss. Zhang Tianshan exploded, instructing Liang Yongqi to toss the bamboo tubes out. He then pulled Lin Fan. Kid, listen to me. Bring them back to Marshall Path Mountain. The things here are enough to support you back. I will stay here. I have confidence in defending Jiang City. Those words were just bragging. Zhang Tianshan just wanted to bluff Lin Fan back. Nonsense. If you had the ability, would Marshall Path Mountain have gone bankrupt? I won't leave. Lin Fan said. Su Ying was recovering stamina and internal strength. Those damn fellows actually caused such a huge problem. Zhang Tianshan's head hurt. Why are you so stubborn? Can't you just let me do one thing in my life? This isn't the first time I have been stubborn. Stop talking nonsense. Don't toss anything. Once the Een Demons get close, then toss. Lin Fan said. He then looked towards the Een Demons. Come, scum, if you want to break open this gate, let's see whether or not you have the ability. Lin Fan hollered. Instantly, the Een Demon King attacked right away, striking towards Lin Fan. She was really quick and wanted to kill him in one move. Just as the Een Demon King got close, Zhang Tianshan picked up the bamboo tube and tossed it over. Pa! The bamboo tube exploded and a bright light shot out, shocking the Een Demon King so much that she felt really uncomfortable. Lin Fan took the chance and instantly attacked. Lightning wrapped around his hand and surged towards the Een Demon King. The Een Demon King was really strong, and even if she was disturbed, she would counterattack. Pong! Lin Fan retreated, his palm shook. His strongest move, which was a dual cultivator, was actually unable to shake the Een Demon King. Her strength was a little terrifying. Charge! The Een Demon King didn't take the risk and continued to let the Een demons surge forwards. Lin Fan didn't know how long he could last. Bring my cousin back to Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan looked at Zhang Tianshan and said. Zhang Tianshan decisively rejected. Impossible. If we leave together. Forget it. Let's fight head-on. At most we will die together. Lin Fan wouldn't leave. Suddenly, the Een demons that were prepared to attack stopped and looked into the distance. Lin Fan was shocked and looked out curiously. He didn't see anything weird. However, the situation wasn't like that for the Een demons. In the distance, there was a blazing sun that covered half of the sky. The Een demon king was shocked, turning around and running into the distance. The other Een demons were frightened and turned around to leave. Leave half. The rest scram back to use City East Forest, otherwise you'll all be wiped out. A voice spread out from the distance. His tone was irresistible and filled with majesty. Shortly after, a sword light that sliced apart half the sky swept over. The Een demons that were covered didn't even cry out before turning to dust. They were unable to struggle at all. The Een demon king turned around and took a look. The sword light brushed past her arm and sliced it off. Lin Fan was stunned and said in disbelief, "Is this still Marshall Path?" Grandfather. Suing felt that the voice was really familiar and was shocked. Why was grandfather here? Very quickly, an old man walked out from the darkness with a smile on his face. No one knew how that sword light slashed out, but it was really strong. It wasn't Marshall Path anymore. Grandson, not bad. I can see that you have a bit of elegance. Lin Fan was speechless. Even if he was an expert, he couldn't humiliate him like that, right? Chapter 185. That sword was too eye-catching. It blinded everyone's eyes. Old Ancestor Su. Feng Poliu was shocked. He didn't expect to see such a godlike person from Su family. He was much more reserved. When Old Ancestor Su walked over, he took a few steps back and opened up a path. This was respect towards Old Ancestor Su. Such an expert was famous for a long time. His strength was indiscernible. He had heard about him when he was in Insect Valley. He was from the same generation as his master. Even his master had once said that his master was slightly inferior to him. Granddaughter, why don't you speak when you see grandfather? Old Ancestor Su looked at Su Ying and asked. Su Ying lowered her head. Su Ying greets grandfather. This time, because of her grandfather's appearance, she was out of danger. You have suffered a lot. If you can't take it, then go home. Girls in the outside world will always suffer. Old Ancestor Su said. He had heard about what his granddaughter faced outside. Nine Bug Gang wasn't a good place. Although it was under Insect Valley had closed itself during these few years. Nine Bug Gang slowly broke free from Insect Valley's control and ruled over Fuzhou. Suing didn't reply. It was obvious that she didn't want to return. After Lin Fan knew that this was Old Ancestor Su, he wasn't interested. That seventh little miss was beaten up by his cousin, so it was better to be low profile. Thinking about his cousin, he immediately came to his cousin's side. He looked at his injuries and felt heart-pained. He quickly checked on the situation. Kid, I saved your lives and you don't even thank me? Old Ancestor Su asked. This kid didn't have any knowledge. However, his cultivation was not bad. Lin Wani actually said that his son was trash. What was he thinking? Did people have such high standards now? Even when they were young, they didn't have such ability. Thank you, Lin Fan replied. Old Ancestor Su shook his head. That reply was a little shallow. You are the same as your father. Old Ancestor Su said, forget it. All of you are skilled. I have never seen anyone with weak cultivation who dares to fight Een demons at night. All of you are bold. Zhang Tianshan heaved a sigh of relief. Naturally, he knew who the person in front of him was, but they didn't know who he was. After all, Lin Wani was the most famous. On the other hand, he was just a bystander and did not have much of a presence. Now that the Een demons left, everything was safe. The Een demons suffered heavy losses. Half of them were slain by one sword. Anyone would feel heart pain for a long time. Maybe it would make the Een demons feel fear. It's all right. Lin Fan helped his cousin up. "Cousin, let's go. I will bring you back to heal up." Since he had accepted money from the people of Jiang City, he had to do it for them. Although his actions this time were impulsive, he didn't regret it. He was a young man after all. If he wasn't impulsive, how could he be called a young man? Especially young people who were trustworthy. He would not frown even if he had to go through a mountain of knives or a sea of flames. Steady? This does not exist. In fact, Yuan Tianchu's heart was almost paralyzed with fear. Danger. It was really too dangerous. He thought that he was going to die here tonight, but he didn't expect that there would be a way out. The feeling of surviving a calamity was really great. His mind was in a mess. He believed that this must be a conspiracy. It was definitely a conspiracy, but he couldn't figure out what this Lin fellow was trying to do. It was too profound. Even with his powerful analytical ability, he still couldn't figure it out. It was truly terrifying. The people in the city heard that there was no movement outside. Their hearts trembled. It couldn't be that he was finished, right? They didn't dare to open the city gates. That was because opening the city gates would allow those terrifying things to enter. However, the current situation was equivalent to a form of torture for them. It was truly too painful. If this went on, they would be forced to go crazy. Some bold people climbed onto the walls, sneaking their heads out in terror. They prayed in their hearts as they looked outside. When he saw the scenes outside, joy appeared on his face. He quickly came down and shouted, "Safe! We are safe. The Yin demons have left." He ran and told the people about the situation outside. All of them cheered. That feeling of surviving a calamity was just too great. Huang Boren stayed in the manor, feeling uneasy. He quietly waited for the final outcome. The Yin demons attacked the city, and with his Huang family's ability, they couldn't block them at all. They could only wait for death and not do anything at all. "Young master, we are safe." The Yin demons were chased away by Martial Path Mountain. A servant ran over to report the good news. "Who?" Huang Boren heaved a sigh of relief. This feeling of surviving a calamity, if one didn't personally experience it, one wouldn't be able to imagine it. As expected, Martial Path Mountain has potential. The investment was worth it. It seems like I need to invest more. Huang Boren thought about it and slowly had an idea. Martial Path Mountain. Cousin was healing up. His injuries were more serious, and his body was covered in wounds. The Yin demon's poison was stuck to his flesh and couldn't be cut off. Old ancestor Su gave him a few pills for them to consume. He said that it could quickly remove the Yin demon's poison. Then he had to thank him. Lin Fan was also injured, but it wasn't a big problem. They were all small injuries. His physique reached Martial Path Grade 11, which was a huge help to his recovery. After this matter, Lin Fan understood that he couldn't just do nothing. He had to become stronger. The feeling of helplessness when danger arrived, it made him feel really annoyed. Become stronger, he really had to take the initiative to become stronger. If Lin Wani knew what Lin Fan was thinking, he would be delighted. This kid really knew how tough it was to survive outside without strength. The sky was bright. Martial Path Mountain regained its calm. Just at that moment, the entrance of Martial Path Mountain was a little noisy. The Jiang City commoners surged over. They didn't come to find trouble with Martial Path Mountain, but to give things to Martial Path Mountain. The commoners carried small baskets with fruits, vegetables, eggs, etc. Some of the rich businessmen were also scared out of their wits last night. They were nearly frightened to death at home. The Yin demons attacked, and if they weren't stopped, then the outcome would be catastrophic. Something huge would have happened. But Martial Path Mountain bravely stepped out to help Jiang City defend against the Yin demons. So they came to give gifts, plaques, and whatnot. Those were all secondary. Some of them even sent taels of silver to him. Zhang Tianshan received the commoners. The smile on his face was like a blooming flower, so bright and beautiful. Who knew that Martial Path Mountain would have such a day? This was something he didn't expect, even in his dreams. Although it was dangerous, the rewards were huge. Very quickly, there were many things piled up on Martial Path Mountain, and the commoners left. To the commoners, they suddenly noticed that it was good to have Martial Path Mountain by their side, and they felt safe. "Grandfather, why are you here?" Suing asked. His grandfather was the pillar of the Sioux family and also the strongest person in the Sioux family. If the Sioux family didn't have his grandfather to guard it, then the Sioux family's position in Zwa City would suffer a heavy blow. I made a trip to U City and met this kid's old man, so I came over to take a look. I didn't expect that you would clash with the Een demons at night. If I didn't arrive in time, you would have ended up badly. Old ancestor Sioux said. What he said was the truth. Grandfather, Lin Wani harmed Aunt so badly. So why did you meet him? Sioux didn't have a good impression of Lin Wani. She heard Aunt say that this person was a brute, uncultured, and rude. At that time, she even asked why did Aunt like him. The answer she got was that he gave off a special aura. Suing was confused about that. Special aura? She couldn't imagine how such a person with no merits would have such a special aura. Old ancestor Sioux smiled. There are some things you don't understand, but don't get involved with this kid. Your aunt was harmed, so I don't want my granddaughter to be harmed too. Grandfather, how is that possible? Suing replied right away. That was definitely impossible. She didn't care about such a guy. She didn't even think about such a thing. It is best if it is impossible. Imperial dynasty will marry a princess to him, and in the future, he will be the prince consort. Old ancestor Sioux said. Suing found it weird. The imperial court would betroth the princess to this person. How is that possible? At that moment, old ancestor Sioux looked at Zhou Zhongmao with a weird expression. He remembered that this kid was badly injured last night. Even if he consumed his pills, he definitely couldn't have recovered so quickly. Moreover, it seemed like he was perfectly fine. How did Lin Wani develop him? Or did he leave something up his sleeve for his son? Grandfather, what is wrong with him? Suing asked. Old ancestor Sioux smiled. It is hard to say. Okay, let's go meet that kid. Actually, I came this time to recognize him as my grandson. In the future, Lin Wani will be my son. Ha. Suing was helpless. Grandfathers still love to play. All right, this kid is the one who hit your seventh sister. She isn't smart enough and doesn't even know who hit her, Hayes. Old ancestor Sioux sighed regretfully. Some of the juniors in the family were really smart, but some were really dumb. It wasn't scary to be beaten up. What was scary was to be beaten up and not know who did it. That was the truly scary thing. Suing was slightly furious. She didn't expect that he was the one who hit seventh sister. As expected, if they weren't from the same family, they wouldn't join the same family. She had already remembered Lin Fan. Back courtyard, Lin Fan was in deep thought about something. His days of being a salted fish would never return. It was time to work hard. If he was an expert, based on the situation last night, even if he didn't kill half of them with one sword, he would at least stomp a bunch of them to death. That was true strength. His current strength was far from it, and he didn't have enough. Go Z saw that young master's expression was solemn, like he was thinking about something. He stood at the side and didn't dare to disturb him. He had a feeling. Young master was definitely going to work hard. Grandson, what are you thinking about? Old ancestor Sioux smiled as he walked over and teased. Lin Fan took a look. You have problems. Rage points plus 66. Damn, this kid dared to scold him. He had balls. Chapter 186. He didn't even know what this fellow was here for. He just called him a grandson. If he wasn't old, he would have fought him to the death. After this matter, do you feel that you're really weak? Do you have any thoughts of becoming strong? Old ancestor Sioux smiled and asked. He had seen through the young man in front of him. That look of contemplation was exactly the same as when he felt that he was very weak in the past. Of course, what do you want to do? Lin Fan was a little wary of this old man, although he didn't have any bad intentions. But there was definitely more to his words. If he wasn't careful, he would be dragged in. Old ancestor Sioux smiled. It is good that you do. I know your father. I saw that he was a decent person and wanted to be his father. Unfortunately, we weren't fated. Now that I see you, I'm really happy. Why don't you recognize me as your grandfather? I will nurture you. Direct. He was really direct. This old man was here to recognize someone as his grandson. Normally, people with no pride would kneel down and call him grandfather. But who was Lin Fan? Would he casually recognize someone as his grandfather? Moreover, this didn't just concern him, it concerned his father. If he really did, then wouldn't his father be his son? So, he said that this old man had bad intentions. There is no need to trouble you. I will solve it myself. Lin Fan said. He just wanted to become strong. How tough could it be? In the past, he was just enjoying himself and didn't work hard. The small support system might not be strong, but it was enough for him. But as long as he had a few months, he was confident that he would be ahead of everyone. Kid, don't be stubborn. Sometimes, stubbornness doesn't have any benefits. Instead, you will waste a chance. Just like your father, he was stubborn when he was young and took a few more years on the wrong path. Old ancestor Su said. Lin Fan looked at him. Hearing your tone, you seem really familiar with my father. Haha, not very familiar, but really familiar. I hope that you won't be like your father. Once you miss something, you won't get it again. To have it again, apart from luck, you also need talent. But such luck and talent are 1 in a million. Old ancestor Su seemed like he was telling Lin Fan some sort of logic. Lin Fan asked, then between you and my father, who is stronger? Old ancestor Su had a short moment of hesitation towards this question. He didn't want to lie, but since he had been asked, he had to say that he was the best. If it was in the past, he wouldn't hesitate to tell this kid that his father was defeated by him. But now, he might not be Lin Wani's opponent. Lin Wani's fortuitous encounters were simply too thick, and ordinary people simply couldn't compare to him. All right, there's no need to answer. I already understand. Lin Fan said. How could the other party's hesitant look escape his eyes? He was definitely not a match for his father. An inexplicable sense of pride. Old ancestor Su felt that something was wrong. Did the kid in front of him think wrongly about something? I want to ask, what is above grade 12? Lin Fan asked. His brother didn't tell him about this. When he read martial path theories in U City, he only saw martial path grade 12. Old ancestor Su looked at Lin Fan with a weird expression. He didn't expect that he didn't know about the realm above grade 12. It seemed like Lin Wani really knew how to educate people. This was what they meant by telling you too much, and you would think too much, so it was best not to tell you. Kid, you know too little. Above grade 12 is Master Realm. This realm has started to break away from the range of normal martial path. Using internal strength to open up the governor and conception meridians means that one has entered Master Realm. The realm above Master Realm is when the internal strength is connected to the limbs. This is also known as the 100 meridians being opened up. That is when one steps into Grandmaster Realm. Your cousin already has the ability of a Grandmaster. Lin Fan said with a weird expression. My cousin is only grade 9. How can he be a Grandmaster? Haha, you don't understand. Your cousin's acupoints were opened up, and his 100 meridians were opened up. He has the initial strength of a Grandmaster. As long as he cultivates, he will become a Grandmaster in a short time. Your father is really willing. To let someone protect you, he actually sacrificed himself to help your cousin open up his acupoints and meridians. Amazing, really amazing. Old ancestor Su exclaimed. Lin Wani was a bold person, and normal people wouldn't dare to do that. To anyone, this was a huge opportunity. Of course, as the 100 meridians weren't cleared by one's own internal strength, it had a huge impact on the person involved. Lin Fan was in deep thought. He didn't expect his father to actually open up all the meridians in his cousin's body. So that was the case. He knew it. Cousin was only at the 9th stage of the martial path. So how could the power that erupted from him be so strong? What about above Grandmaster? Lin Fan asked. He wanted to understand the cultivation realms of this magical world right away. But looking at old ancestor Su's expression, it was obvious that he didn't want to say much. Kid, enough, you are asking too much. With your talent, you will need at least 10 years to break through to Grandmaster. Your father only became a Grandmaster when he was 30. Once you become a Grandmaster, you will naturally know. Old ancestor Su was helpless. Young people nowadays were biting off more than they could chew. Lin Fan asked, My father only became a Grandmaster when he was 30? Then, you said that my cousin could become a Grandmaster in a short time. So why do I need so long? Kiki, that question isn't good. Let me give you an example. How long do you need to earn 100,000? But if I have 1,000,000 and give you 100,000, wouldn't you earn it in a short time? Old ancestor Su said. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment and nodded his head, and that makes sense. But why does it sound like there aren't many benefits for either side? Haha, you have a brain. Not bad, it does affect both sides. However, it isn't much for your father, but for your cousin, it is. He didn't cultivate himself, so he is much more unfamiliar with it. He also doesn't have the ability, so he needs to be nurtured slowly. Your cousin is a smart person and knows the theory. He didn't try to break through right away, but slowly stabilized it. Old ancestor Su's words helped Lin Fan a lot, allowing him to understand many things that he didn't know in the past. Just like that, you asked, and I answered, slowly communicating. Su-Ying stood at the side, not anxious at all. She was thinking about 9 Bug Gang. She couldn't go back. Those people who followed her were all killed by her. If she went back, she would be walking into a trap. But she didn't expect those people to be so crazy. Also, who was it that wanted to kill her? Gang leader? If one said that there was a misunderstanding, who knew whether or not Su-Ying would believe it? Those people saw Su-Ying enter Marshall Path Mountain and didn't have any conflicts with them before leaving. They felt that since Su-Ying had already betrayed 9 Bug Gang, she might not be her match in a head-on fight, so why not borrow someone else's knife to kill her? It was enough that she had a city of people to accompany her. Old ancestor Su said, "Kid, call me grandfather. I will give you some benefits and let you soar into the sky." Lin Fan looked at old ancestor Su. This fellow had a problem. "No need, I'm not interested in all this," Lin Fan said. He had no interest in benefits at all. In the next period of time, he had to start to get busy and raise his cultivation. He had to raise it to grade 12, and then become a master and then a grandmaster expert. Old ancestor Su said that he would need many years, but he didn't believe it. He had the small support system, and if he couldn't reach grandmaster in a month, then he wouldn't be able to survive. When he decided to do something, it would be really terrifying. Old ancestor Su shook his head and sighed like he was filled with regret. Su family didn't owe Lin family, but Lin family owed Su family. He wanted Lin Fan to call him grandfather to give him good things. That was to take advantage of Lin Wani. Of course, if this kid didn't shout, then he wouldn't have anything good. Helping them get through the Demon crisis was already a huge help to them. "You really don't need it?" Old ancestor Su asked. He then tempted him, "As long as you shout, your life will be amazing." "No need," Lin Fan replied really cleanly. No matter what it was, he really didn't need it, as there was no need. Rage points plus 88. Old ancestor Su was furious. This kid didn't know how to grab a chance. He was as dumb as a pig. Haze, forget it. Let him be stubborn. Old ancestor Su seemed to have something to do. He didn't stay on Marshall Path Mountain and left right away. The Demon matter came to an end. He scared them away with one sword, and they should have scurried back to U City East Forest. What Lin Fan was thinking was that since he could kill half with one sword, then why didn't he slash once more to wipe out all the demons? That wasn't good at acting cool. Su-Ying said, "You really are confident. What my grandfather gave you is enough to save you a lot of trouble. In the future, even if you regret it, it is useless." She had never seen such a person. If it was someone else, they would have knelt down and hugged his legs, willing to be his grandson. Lin Fan smiled. "Don't you know that my father is Lin Wani? What your grandfather has, how can my father not have?" Su-Ying was speechless. His words made sense. "Let's not talk about this. I heard you say that what happened last night had something to do with 9 Bug Gang. But did they do it?" Lin Fan asked. He didn't have any enemies now, so it wasn't his style to disturb people for no reason. But 9 Bug Gang was different. He had a grudge with them long ago. Moreover, 9 Bug Gang purposely found trouble with him. If he could bear with it, then that really wasn't his style. Su-Ying said, "Right, someone followed me. Maybe they thought that I had something to do with Marshall Path Mountain and betrayed 9 Bug Gang, which was why they lured the demons over. I don't want to know about all this. I just want to know where 9 Bug Gang is." Lin Fan asked. "Fuzhou, what do you want to do?" Su-Ying looked at Lin Fan. Did he have any other thoughts? Lin Fan said, "What else can I do? I will definitely wipe out 9 Bug Gang." Of course. He knew that he didn't have the ability to wipe them out in one go. But what he didn't lack was time. Take it slow. He would infuriate them to death. Can you consider how I feel? Fong Polio looked at the two of them and said, no matter what, Nine Bug Gang was a subsidiary power of Insect Valley. Although he had left Insect Valley, he had to be more tactful. Chapter 187. You aren't from Nine Bug Gang, so what are you thinking about? Lin Fan looked at Fong Polio. They had been through thick and thin together, and all of a sudden their relationship soared. Fong Polio was helpless. Although he said that, as the big disciple of Insect Valley, his heart was still on Insect Valley. If he wiped out Nine Bug Gang, wouldn't Insect Valley suffer a loss? Thinking about it made him sad. You? Suing wanted to laugh. He actually said that he wanted to wipe out Nine Bug Gang. That wasn't a joke. Do you know Nine Bug Gang's strength? Her tone showed that she didn't have high hopes for Lin Fan and didn't think that he had the ability to wipe them out. It was just a bunch of nonsense. She didn't even say that he knew the power behind Nine Bug Gang. Insect Valley? No, that was a long time ago. The power behind them wasn't something he could offend. You don't need to know how strong Nine Bug Gang is. It isn't important to me because I have decided to wipe them out. Are you interested? I can bring you along. After all, you were abandoned. Lin Fan smiled and said. He was serious this time. His peaceful life had come to an end. His heart to become strong was swelling. When it reached a certain level, no one would be able to stop him. I won't go crazy with you. Su Ying rejected him. Lin Fan wanted to wipe out Nine Bug Gang. To her, it sounded like a fool bragging. He wanted to bring her along. That was the same as asking to die. That is such a waste. Nine Bug Gang nearly killed you, and you could bear with it. Your grandfather even came, and you didn't tell him the truth. I thought you wanted to take revenge personally, but who knew that you were just cowardly? Lin Fan was regretful. He thought that this girl was a hero, but it seemed like he was thinking too much. So she was a weakling. Maybe she was a weakling who didn't dare to take revenge. No matter what, he wanted to take revenge. Nine Bug Gang sent people to mess with him time and time again. They even provoked him. Who could take that? If it wasn't for him being a little far away, he was prepared to fight them today. Ew. Rage points plus 111. Suing was a little furious. What did this fellow mean? He was purposely provoking her in order to bring her to her death. Only someone with a screw loose would fall for it. Otherwise, who would go? Fong Polio, do you have any thoughts? Lin Fan turned his head and asked. Naturally, he wouldn't head to Fuzhou alone. Cousin would definitely follow. If Fong Polio went too, then he could bring him. There was strength in numbers, and it would be convenient to do things. Fong Polio was stunned as he looked at Lin Fan, saying exaggeratedly, "You are serious?" He had always thought that Lin Fan was joking. Even if Nine Bug Gang was just a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, their strength couldn't be underestimated. Do I look like I'm joking? Lin Fan asked. He was serious. With the current situation, Nine Bug Gang was the best choice to raise his strength. Jiang City and Yu City were 1,000 miles apart. It wasn't far, so they were at the border. Fuzhou was a large city. Even though it was far from the Central Dynasty, it was a truly large city. It was a shipping fortress and had abundant resources. It was a truly large city. I need to consider, Fong Polio said. He didn't think about communicating with people related to Insect Valley. This was what he thought about after leaving Insect Valley, so he needed to consider it. Suing didn't want to hang out with this idiot. She knew that she couldn't return to Nine Bug Gang. If she did, the outcome wouldn't be good. Although her life wouldn't be in danger, it would still be problematic. So she left. Lin Fan looked at her back view and shook his head. This girl was not bad. Her body was good. Her face was beautiful, but she was a little timid. People who were timid just didn't make one feel like they were good. Young Master Lin, you like this girl? In my opinion, she's not bad. Family background, status, looks, etc. She's top class. Fong Polio said, I am so bored. Why would I like her? Lin Fan looked at Fong Polio. What was he thinking? He actually had such thoughts. It was tough for him to accept it. Fong Polio shook his head. What were people thinking now? Suing was not bad. Others probably couldn't even lick her. To Lin Fan, okay, if she was timid, then so be it. He would do it himself. Especially Su Ying's tone of disbelief made him unhappy. Did she know 9 Bugang strength? She made it sound like he was the weak one and that others were strong. Go back and think about it. We will head out tomorrow. Lin Fan was an impatient person and couldn't tolerate hatred for too long. He was afraid that if he had too much hatred in the future, he wouldn't be able to remember who survived. His cultivation was already at martial path grade 11. He was strong in both internal and external cultivation, but since he met the Su family old ancestor, he knew that he was still weak. The gap between the two was huge. There was a wide chasm. My cultivation is stuck here, not because I lack rage points, but because I lack some special cultivation techniques. During the battle with the Yin demons, he gained many rage points, enough for him to spend for a period of time. If he was in Yu City, he wouldn't need to worry about cultivation techniques. He would head to Cousin's place to take a look. Zhang Tianshan brought Liang Yongqi and Yuan Tianchu to be busy outside Jiang City. He noticed that it wasn't safe to hide it. It was easy for people to dig it out. Of course, it wasn't that they knew where the red flamestone was placed, but that it would glow at night. As long as one wasn't blind, they would dig it out. So he needed to think of a way to hide the glow such that others couldn't find it. If such a thing happened again, they would be finished. Yuan Tianchu pushed a small cart and asked, Deputy Sect Leader Zhang was the old man that appeared the Su family old ancestor. This was City Su family old ancestor. You haven't seen him, right? He is an important person. Even if he went to the imperial city to meet the emperor, he didn't need to kneel. The emperor even had to call him country protector. Zhang Tianshan said. So amazing. Yuan Tianchu was shocked. He had never seen the Su family old ancestor, but that Su family 7th little miss left a deep impression. Brother Liang, you were beaten up by that Su family 7th little miss, right? His question had no standard at all. It brought up that sad matter of Liang Yongqi's. That matter, Liang Yongqi didn't want to recall it. It was just too embarrassing. He was beaten up so badly that he didn't even know what was going on. From then on, his father didn't love him anymore, demoting his position. Big Brother took over. Who knew what his father and Big Brother were doing now? Maybe Big Brother made his father happy. Zhang Tianshan said, Let's not talk about the past. You're a little scheming. Little Liang is not bad. Didn't you notice that his cultivation has reached martial path grade 4, but you're still at the same spot? Those words were a huge blow to Yuan Tianchu. Oh my God, what did those words mean? How could Yuan Tianchu's cultivation not be at the same spot? During this period of time, he didn't cultivate at all, and his mind was filled with schemes and plots. Wait, scheme. As expected, it was a scheme. He actually attacked from his cultivation. Now he understood why Zhang Tianshan gave Liang Yongqi secret techniques. He wanted Liang Yongqi's cultivation to improve so that he could humiliate him, but that wasn't right. Liang Yongqi was on your side, and I was neutral. Why did you think that I was on his side? That was possible. That was really possible. Since that was the case, then he could only remain calm. If he got angry, then he might really fall for it. Hayes, I have no choice. Brother Liang is talented, and I am average, so how can I compare? Yuan Tianchu said. Liang Yongqi looked at Yuan Tianchu in shock. Damn it. He didn't expect that Yuan Tianchu would actually say such words. He would actually admit that he was weaker than him. In the past, this would have been impossible. He changed. Yuan Tianchu really changed. No. How can I compare to Brother Yuan's talent? I just had nothing to do recently, so I worked hard. Liang Yongqi said anxiously. Since Brother Yuan was so humble, then naturally, he couldn't be too high profile. Okay, the two of you help out, finish it quickly, and head back. When Zhang Tianshan saw the two of them being so humble, he was really not used to it. However, on a deeper level, his evaluation of the two of them was much better. Last night, they dared to leave Martial Path Mountain and follow him to Jiang City, which meant that they were on the same side. This matter had elevated the relationship between everyone to a higher level. Yuan Tianchu kept silent. He felt like he was in a really dangerous situation. Liang Yongqi's sudden humility was like someone hiding a sharp knife in his sleeves that could stab someone to death at any moment. That night, Martial Path Mountain, Lin Fan got a few cultivation techniques from Cousin. Cousin's Demon Ape Fist was not bad. When one cultivated it to a high level, the Demon Ape illusions would appear. If one said that it was a fist technique, then it was definitely a fist technique. But if one said that it was a body training technique, then it was a body training technique. Using the fist to train the body was really overbearing. Unmovable King Body was cultivated to a high level by him, and he couldn't raise it anymore. To raise physique, he needed more body training techniques. There was also a demon enforcing heart scripture that was not bad. It was on the same level as the Purple Sun 4 Saint scripture, but it had a dual cultivation effect. Take a look at the small support system. Physique, 330, Martial Path Grade 11. Internal Strength, 330, Martial Path Grade 11. Heart Cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 25. Demon Enforcing Heart Scripture, Unlearned, Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique, Returning to True. Bug Controlling Technique, Unlearned. Unmovable King Body, Returning to True. Lightning Blade 4 Strokes, Returning to True. Mixed Energy Broken Jade Hand, Unlearned. Demon Ape Fist, Unlearned. Rage Points, 102231. The rage points that the Een demons provided were enough to raise him to Master Realm. Raise Heart Cultivation, consumed 2,000 rage points. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 26. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 33. He instantly reached the Great Perfection Realm. Instantly, Lin Fan felt a shocking change in his body. He activated the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. Suddenly, a purple halo appeared behind Xiao Chen's head, and a purple mist revolved around his body. A shocking phenomenon occurred. Did I improve too quickly? Lin Fan was shocked by those scenes. He couldn't accept it. P.S. Thank you, Black Hood Farmer Alliance leader. Thank you. Chapter 188. Although the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture was left behind by the assassin in black, he already knew that such a profound mental cultivation technique couldn't have been left behind by the assassin. It was definitely left by his father. Using this, he suddenly wanted to sing a song. 1, 2, 3. Sing. My father, the person I love the most, now that he raised the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture to Grade 33, the purple internal strength surged like an ocean. The quality of the internal strength had a shocking change, and it was much stronger and more intense than before. When I am serious, all of you have nothing to do with me. Lin Fan was confident. He had to become strong. He had to become even stronger. After going through things, he would slowly grow. Cousin wasn't invincible. Even if he was, he had to protect himself. Looking at how Cousin didn't care about his injuries to protect him, he felt that if he continued like this, he might lose someone important. He wouldn't let that happen. So, only by killing and crippling those people who threatened the safety of the people around him could he have the right to enjoy his life. Improve. He consumed 1,000 rage points. Demon Ape Fist, Basics. Demon Ape Fist, Returning to True. He consumed 16,500 rage points to raise the Demon Ape Fist to the highest realm. The carefree feeling of cultivating a cultivation method to the extreme was simply too refreshing. With the current situation, it was no problem to raise his cultivation. Add points. Physique slowly increased. Now, 1 point required 600 rage points. Physique, 360, Martial Path Grade 12. When he raised it to Martial Path Grade 12, he noticed that his body felt swollen. That feeling was power. He continued to add points. What he wanted was to cultivate both internal and external cultivation, to be able to use his strongest combat strength in battle. Internal Strength, 360, Martial Path Grade 12. Lin Fan felt that his strength had greatly increased. He clenched his fists. This was the feeling of power. What a waste. I don't have enough rage points to reach Master Realm. However, with the current situation, I will reach it soon. Lin Fan looked at the small support system. He was only left with 33,731 rage points. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't little either. Since that was the case, then he would use the remaining rage points to raise the demon heart in forcing scripture. This heart cultivation technique was not bad. When Cousin used it, it was really strong and had a strong aura. If you don't act a little fiercer when you go out, others won't be afraid at all. The Devil Heart suppressing scripture has a total of 12 levels. The first level requires 2,000, and upgrading to the third level requires 3,000. Lin Fan's strength continued to grow. Demon Heart subduing scripture, 10th layer, rage points, 1731. Although I'm still a distance away from Master, as long as I have a chance, I will definitely become a Grandmaster. Lin Fan thought that he would be able to step in a Master realm right away, but now it seemed like he was thinking too much. Su family old ancestor said that if he wanted to step into Grandmaster realm, he would need a very, very long time. Didn't these words mean that he, Lin Fan, couldn't make it? His face had to be slapped back, and it had to be done in the shortest time possible. He didn't sleep and just packed his things. He would leave Marshall Path Mountain tomorrow, and he had to be quick. Only by using every second would he be able to raise his strength in the shortest time. 9 Bug Gang, you bunch of scum, just wait for me to kill you. The next day, Feng Poliu, have you considered it? If you have, then let's head out now. If not, then I won't wait for you. Lin Fan stood in front of Feng Poliu's house and shouted. It was just too slow. He still needed to consider such a small matter. In his words, what was there to consider? There was no need at all. Feng Poliu pushed open the door and looked at Lin Fan with a stunned expression. Oh my God, this speed was just too quick. He said he would consider it yesterday, and now he wanted to leave today. The time he had to consider was just too short. At least he had to give him a few more days. Are you leaving or not? Lin Fan asked. Apart from Een demons, who hated him now, it was 9 Bug Gang. As for the Een demons, although they were arrogant, they were destroyed by him several times. He could put aside this hatred for now. 9 Bug Gang couldn't do it. They were the ones who came to Jiang City to find trouble with him. If he didn't attack, they would think that he was afraid. He had to teach them a lesson so that they would know how terrifying things were. Let me ask you again. Are you sure you want to head to 9 Bug Gang? You have to think about it. Although 9 Bug Gang is just a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, they are really strong. Feng Poliu said. He had to make it clear that the young people were just too rash. If they had some thoughts, then they would have to take action. When they faced problems, they wouldn't even have a place to cry. Nonsense. If I didn't think about it, would I pack my things? What's your situation? Are you going or not? Lin Fan asked. This fellow was just so annoying. Just one sentence. Why did he have to hesitate for so long? Feng Poliu thought about it and nodded. Since that was the case, then let's go. He hadn't visited 9 Bug Gang in a long time. He also heard that 9 Bug Gang didn't have any sense of belonging to Insect Valley. They formed their own sect and relied on other powers. He followed Lin Fan to 9 Bug Gang, not to help him wipe them out, but to verify something. Lin Fan was satisfied. This was a good offer from Marshall Path Mountain. 100 silver was worth it. As long as he performed well, there was a chance of the price rising. Young Master, what about me? Let me go. I can take care of Young Master. Go Z wanted to follow. He didn't want to be separated from Young Master. Lin Fan said, you can stay on Marshall Path Mountain. I'm going out to take revenge, not to travel. If you follow, you'll be in danger. Go Z was too weak. No, one could say that Go Z had no strength. At most, he could use a blade to slash normal people. If he faced an expert, he was basically dead. Go Z wanted to draw circles on the spot. He felt that he was too weak and would only be a burden if he followed Young Master. How sad. He wanted to become strong, but his body didn't allow him to do so. He was helpless. Zhang Tianshan, when I'm not here, you will be in charge of Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan looked at Lin Fan and said, Sect leader, why not forget it? Going out is asking for trouble. Staying on Marshall Path Mountain is so good. We have food and drink is so comfortable. He didn't want the kid to leave Marshall Path Mountain and head into the turbulent, pugilistic world. Especially when he faced the terrifying 9 Bug Gang. He felt that it wasn't realistic. There was a high chance that they would turn the tables on him. If he didn't do it well, things would really happen. Yuan Tianshu looked at Zhang Tianshan and smiled in disdain. Hypocrite. He was really happy. The chance was finally here. As long as Lin Fan wasn't here, he would be the Martial Path Mountain sect leader. However, he felt that this was Lin Fan's plot. Although he didn't know how strong 9 Bug Gang was, as long as one was sane, he wouldn't say that he brought a few people to wipe out such a huge gang. How strong was he? Or how strong was he? He guessed that this was Lin Fan's excuse to observe Martial Path Mountain. If he noticed that the situation wasn't right, he would instantly appear in front of everyone. When that happened, he couldn't think about it. He really couldn't think about it. Am I the sect leader, or are you the sect leader? Don't worry about where I go. Just take care of Martial Path Mountain. This is 1,000 silver, enough for this period of time. Lin Fan took out a bill and passed it to Zhang Tianshan. Zhang Tianshan stared at the bill, and his eyes opened wide. So generous? Where did he get so much money from? He didn't understand the kid. He was totally confused about how much money Martial Path Mountain had. Anyway, he always felt that Martial Path Mountain was poor. Who knew that the kid would take out 1,000 silver right away? Oh my God. Shocking. It was just too shocking. So rich. Yuan Tianshu looked at Lin Fan. It was obvious that he was shocked by this huge sum. If he was still in Yu City, he would still be the Yuan family second young master. Naturally, he wouldn't care about such a small amount of silver. But it was different now. After leaving Yu City and coming to Martial Path Mountain, he was a poor person, so poor that he didn't even buy new clothes. He looked at Lin Fan with a profound expression. He hid his emotions really well. There were many secrets that they didn't know about. If Lin Fan knew about Yuan Tianshu's rich inner world, he would definitely roar out. Could he stop thinking about it? His actions were just too cool. If he went to the toilet, would he think that he hid poison in the toilet? Of course, that was true. If Lin Fan had put on a weird expression before entering the toilet, Yuan Tianshu would have thought that he was hiding poison in the toilet. To Lin Fan, he really treated Zhang Tianshan and the others as his own people. The fact that they were able to fight the Yin demons that night showed this problem. This was why Lin Fan wouldn't be stingy towards them. As for the silver, he would definitely be the one keeping it. Talking about money would hurt relationships. Just let him raise them from behind. If you need to buy anything, I will buy it for you. Zhou Mao pulled 3 horses over. These were all contributed by the bandits from Wolf Brigade. Cousin, everything is prepared. Lin Fan looked at them. I will leave Martial Path Mountain to all of you. The moment he said that, just as he was about to lift his leg, he noticed that the 9-headed bug hugged his leg. Its 9 heads raised and looked at Lin Fan with a cute expression. To Lin Fan, this was a cute gaze. But to others, the 9-headed bug was really vicious and terrifying. You want to go too? Lin Fan said. 9 demons, 9 heads nodded crazily. It wanted to go too. It didn't want to separate from Lin Fan. Lin Fan thought about it. Bringing the 9-headed bug might be a good choice. Anyway, he was going to 9 Bug Gang. In front of them, he would let them see that the thing they needed was with him, but he didn't give it to them. Would they feel angry? When that happened, everyone would be furious and would want to kill him. Then, the rage points would be stable. Jump on my shoulder, let's go. Lin Fan patted his shoulder and made space for the 9-headed bug. The 9-headed bug jumped up and landed on his shoulder. It raised its 9 terrifying heads and looked into the distance. He noticed that the world had become bigger. As expected, only by standing on a giant's body could one see further. Right! The 3 of them got on the horse and charged down the mountain without turning their heads. Pung, pung, pung. They charged down, and the horse flipped. Chapter 189. King Wudong Camp. Oh my god, look! Zhu Xiang actually brought the bandits back. Where are those boxes of things? Zhu Xiang worked hard in the camp. To climb to a higher position, he gave everything he had. He volunteered to wipe out the bandits. He didn't wipe them out, but he recruited them into the army. He also brought back the resources that the bandits stole. Even the soldiers in Zhu Xiang's hands were stunned. Till now, they didn't know how Uncle did it. He entered the bandits' home alone. On the second morning, the bandits brought the things out with Zhu Xiang. What a surprise. If they hadn't personally witnessed it, they wouldn't have believed such a thing. What did he say to the bandits? Why did they willingly submit to him? Place the resources there. Zhu Xiang instructed the soldiers and then walked towards the general. He wanted to tell him about the situation. To Zhu Xiang, these were things that needed to happen on the way forward. As long as he persevered, there would be no problems. It is him. Lu Xian came to the camp and noticed that familiar person. He frowned in confusion. Wasn't he mining stones? Why would he appear here? As the strategist by King Wudong's side, he was under huge pressure. That was because not only him, but there were other strategists who would compete with one another. Brother Lu, do you recognize him? A middle-aged man with a long beard followed Lu Xian's gaze. That was just an unassuming earl. Lu Xian smiled. I don't know him. The person who spoke to him was also one of King Wudong's strategists. If one were to talk about opponents, he was just one of them. Is that so? I heard that he volunteered to wipe out the bandits. Looking at the situation, they're really successful. It seems like he is a strong general. I can recommend him to King Wudong. The middle-aged man smiled. Lu Xian's expression was really ugly. What did he mean? If he recommended him to King Wudong, wouldn't he be making enemies for himself? Lu Xian didn't think that Zhu Xiang would be grateful to him when he climbed to a certain position. He tossed Zhu Xiang to the stone quarry to die on his own. Who knew that this fellow actually became an earl? If he knew that this would happen, he would have killed him. 3 horses galloped in the forest. The Yin demons had already moved away, and the trees returned to their original state. When the Yin demons were here, the forest was really dark, and not a single ray of light could shine in. Now that the Yin demon aura wasn't infecting it, everything returned to normal. What a pity. The conflict between Lin Fan and the Yin demon couldn't be resolved. Who knew that the Yin demon would be terrified by that sword and leave right away? Can't you just be a little more stubborn? He was very disappointed with this behavior. Young Master Lin, the journey is long. Let's hurry and try to find a place to rest at night. Feng Poliu said. We'll see. Lin Fan didn't want to find a relay station to rest. He just wanted to hurry on with his journey. If he was too tired, he could just find a place to rest. Of course, it was impossible for him to be tired. He had never felt tired before. To Feng Poliu, he just wanted to understand how young Master Lin cultivated the bug controlling technique. He remembered that time when he took the wrong secret manual. He got it back in a very short time. According to the time, that was impossible. How could he cultivate the bug controlling technique to the peak in such a short time? Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe it. But the truth was placed in front of him. Even if he didn't believe it, he had to. When the sky was about to turn dark, Lin Fan's speed slowed down. The horses couldn't run anymore. From morning till now, they didn't stop. Horses weren't made of iron, so it was normal that they couldn't take it anymore. Young Master Lin, there seems to be a residence ahead. Let's head there for the night. Feng Poliu said. Since there was a place to stay, then naturally he had to stay. He didn't want to stay in the wilderness. And okay, Lin Fan was casual. He just wanted to reach Fuzhou quickly. The residence ahead didn't look like it was for civilians. It was made of wood and looked really nice. It gave off a leisurely aura. When he brought the horse close, there was a stone plaque at the entrance. Wandering Dragon Sect. Lin Fan felt that the name was familiar, like he had heard it before. Are you all spending the night here? Just at that moment, a strong kid wearing clothes that had been mended many times looked curiously at the 3 of them. And spending the night. Lin Fan said. Spending the night. 5 coins per person, 15 coins for the 3 of us. The kid said. Lin Fan only had silver on him and no copper. Kid, where are your adults? Who? A rough voice spread out from within, and a guy walked out. When he saw Lin Fan, he was stunned. Aren't you Marshall Path Mountain sect leader Lin? Why did you come to Wandering Dragon Sect? Did Deputy Sect Leader Zhang follow? Wang Yushu was surprised. Of course. He didn't have a good impression of Sect Leader Lin, but he had a good impression of Deputy Sect Leader Zhang. Lin Fan recalled who this person was. Wasn't he one of the 3 people who came to Marshall Path Mountain to ask for an explanation? How can you stand at the entrance? Come, please enter. Wang Yushu welcomed him and then touched the kid's head. Go call your second master and third master. The kid tossed him aside. The sky wasn't dark yet. Lin Fan looked around. Isn't this a sect? Why does it look like an inn? He thought that Marshall Path Mountain was old and broken. Who knew that there would be something worse than Marshall Path Mountain? Wang Yushu smiled awkwardly. The sect's expenses are huge, so I earned some money to live. Zhou Zhongmao looked around warily. Even if there wasn't any danger now, he had to be careful when he went out. No one knew when danger would arrive. Lin Fan noticed that there were a lot of kids in Wandering Dragon sect. That kid who was wearing pants and playing in the mud, what were you doing? Grabbing a bird and spraying water into the mud. You were playing in the mud. How amazing. Sect leader Lin. Not long later, Wang Linfeng and Wang Xiaosa ran over. They didn't expect Marshall Path Mountain sect leader to actually come to Wandering Dragon sect. This was too sudden. They didn't even have time to prepare. When they learned that Lin Fan came, the 2 of them were washing clothes at the back well. If they found out that Wandering Dragon sect's deputy sect leader and elder were washing clothes there, wouldn't they lose all their face? Lin Fan nodded towards the 2 of them as a greeting. He didn't know what to say to the 3 of them. Also, wasn't this a sect? Why were there only the 3 of them and the rest were kids? Quickly prepare rooms for sect leader Lin and the others. Xiaosa, go cook and welcome sect leader Lin. Wang Yushu instructed. Only the 3 of them could do that. Lin Fan smiled. Sect leader Wang, there is no need to be so polite. We are just borrowing for a night. We will leave tomorrow morning. Of course, Wang Yushu said. Now that the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader personally came to Wandering Dragon sect, they had to welcome him. If not, if this spread out, would their Wandering Dragon sect still have a footing among sects? Wang Linfeng went to clean up the room. Behind him was a little girl with 2 braids. Her face was red. Second master, is this the interaction between sects? That's for sure. Your big master, that's our sect master, is currently interacting with another sect master. As the big senior sister, go and tell Gooden and the rest not to be mischievous and throw our sect's face. Be careful of getting beaten up, Wang Linfeng said. The little girl held her head high and stuck out her chest. Her face was full of pride as she said, Yes, second master, don't worry. I will definitely teach my younger martial brothers to be honest. In the future, I also want to be as awe-inspiring as eldest master and communicate with other sect leaders. To the little fellows of Wandering Dragon sect, they had never seen other sections. Anyway, they felt like they were all on the same line and their Wandering Dragon sect was the strongest. Wang Xiaosa came to the kitchen and scratched his head in annoyance. There was nothing to welcome them. Goo goo, the hen crowed. Their Wandering Dragon sect's most valuable thing was this hen. They relied on it to lay eggs for the little things to improve their meals. But they had no choice as there was nothing to welcome them with. For Wandering Dragon sect's face, they had to kill it. Dinner. 9 Demons' appearance attracted the bunch of kids. Senior sister, what monster is that? It looks so ugly. Shush, softer. Second master said that it is their sex god beast. Then, where's our sex god beast? It is in the pot. As Lin Fan listened to the conversation of these little fellas, he was exasperated. Just what sort of sect was this? Could it even be called a sect? Sect leader Lin, sorry for not being a good host. Wang Yushu smiled and then took some wine. This is the wine we brewed. It is not bad. The dish is here. Wang Xiaosa holds a big bowl. An old hen that has been stripped unyieldingly raises its head in the bowl of floating oil and water. Please. Wang Yushu smiled. But deep down he was really sad. Wandering Dragon sect's only hen died to the blade today. But as the sect leader, he had to treat the guests well and not lose the sect's face. The hen's soup was here. The kids' gazes locked onto the table. They didn't come over, they just licked their lips and showed a yearning gaze. Lin Fan was prepared to move his chopsticks when he noticed that their gazes moved along with his chopsticks. They retracted and shifted their gazes away. When they reached over, their gazes locked onto him. Sect Leader Wang, let the kids eat together, Lin Fan said. Sect Leader Lin, you don't have to be so polite. Just eat, Wang Yushu said. Lin Fan placed down his chopsticks. Let's eat together. Under his repeated requests, Wang Yushu called the kids over. A bunch of them surrounded the table. Let me show all of you something amazing. Lin Fan laughed. Then, he tapped the table lightly with his fingers. The hen in the bowl flew up into the air. With chopsticks in hand, with a schwa sound, there was no shadow, but the hen instantly disintegrated in the air. Then, the meat fell into everyone's bowl in an orderly manner. Wah! The children were all dumbfounded. That was amazing. Ha! Amazing, right? Lin Fan asked. The kids said in unison, amazing. Eat. The kids wolfed it down like they hadn't eaten meat in a long time. Thinking about Marshall Path Mountain, it felt good. Each day, they ate either bird's nest or shark fin. How luxurious. The next day, Lin Fan woke up early and placed a 10,000 silver bill on the table. He thought about it and placed another one on the table. Wandering Dragon Sect Entrance. Lin Fan and the others got on their horses and saw Wang Yushu run over. He cupped his fists. Sect Leader Wang, thank you for your hospitality. If you have a chance, you can bring the kids to Marshall Path Mountain to play. Goodbye. Ride. This time it was flat ground, and there was no flipping of the horses. Wang Xiaosao was prepared to call Sect Leader Lin to eat breakfast. He noticed that there was no one in the room, but there were 2 silver bills on the table. When he heard the noise outside, he chased right away. Big brother, second brother, look, Sect Leader Lin left this. Wang Xiaosao was shocked. Wang Linfeng looked at the bills and instantly fainted. Ah, I am fainting. Wang Yushu looked at the bills, and then at Sect Leader Lin, whose back view couldn't be seen. His eyes turned red. Thank you. P.S. All right, my friend's training will be streamed on Douyu at 8, room 645-3936. My friend asked me to help, but I don't know how. If all of you have time, you can go take a look at it at 8. Chapter 190. The 3 of them rushed on horseback and rarely stopped. However, the horses weren't strong enough and couldn't run anymore, giving them a huge headache. Young Master Lin, what is the situation with Wandering Dragon Sect? Feng Poliu asked. He had never seen such a tragic sect. If they could even be considered a sect, then their expectations of a sect were just too low. Nothing much. Don't you think that it is a decent sect? Lin Fan smiled. He noticed that sometimes one couldn't just look at the surface. When those 3 from Wandering Dragon Sect came to Marshall Path Mountain, he thought that they were fools. Now, he realized that he was too shallow. Feng Poliu smiled. It is indeed a decent sect, the only sect in the world. No one can replace it. The sky is about to turn dark. Let's find a place to rest. The forest ahead is better. Since leaving Wandering Dragon Sect, he didn't stop. Nothing happened along the way, and everything was peaceful. These 2 consecutive days of riding caused his butt to hurt. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have asked for such pain. But it was different now. If he wanted to become strong, he had to suffer. Let's rest here. Lin Fan got off the horse and rubbed his butt. It really hurt. The surrounding environment was not bad, and just one look and one knew that there were no Een demons. A place where Een demons stayed wasn't for humans. Trees covered the sky, and there was no light at all. Young Master Lin, we seem to have forgotten something important. We actually didn't bring any dry rations. Feng Poliu reacted now. That was a headache. Unfortunately, even if he thought about it now, it was too late. It is okay, we have a way. Lin Fan didn't care much about this matter. What could it be? It was just a small matter. The horse was so tired that it panicked. It knelt down to rest. Running from morning till now, it was really tiring. Lin Fan came in front of a giant tree, touching the bark and taking out the newly bought blade. Shwa! A crack appeared on the tree, and it was sliced in half. Lin Fan grabbed the tree and tossed it into the air. His understanding of blade techniques had reached a really high level. The blade light shone, and the tree that was floating in the air instantly disintegrated. Pung, pung, pung. The tree branches fell down and were pieced together in a square manner, forming a bed. That works. Fong Poliu's mouth was agape, but he was more shocked by Lin Fan's technique. He had already cultivated his saber technique to such a level. He was too strong. Cousin, bring the remaining wood over to start a fire, Lin Fan said. Then, he picked up the remaining piece of wood and used a knife to cut it into skewers. Fong Poliu didn't understand what Lin Fan was doing. In any case, he just stared blankly. Zhou Zhoumao's speed was very fast, and he had already started the fire. Not long after, Lin Fan placed the wooden stick back. Next was the most important thing. Even if they didn't bring any dry rations, they wouldn't starve to death. Refresh your stats. Bug controlling technique, max completion. Instantly, circles of ripple-like gray internal strength spread out from Lin Fan's body. Lin Fan sensed his surroundings and searched for living creatures. Fong Poliu was familiar with this internal strength and knew that it was the bug controlling technique's internal strength. He suggested for Lin Fan not to use the bug controlling technique's internal strength. If Insect Valley found out, it wouldn't be so easy to deal with him. Suddenly, soft voices could be heard from the surroundings. Swoosh! Something seemed to be moving. This! Fong Poliu's eyes opened wide. He didn't expect a few snakes to crawl over. Poochie! At that moment, the blade light flashed, and the few snakes' heads were sliced off. Let's eat barbecued snake meat tonight. Lin Fan grabbed the snake, slicing it open and releasing the blood within. He then cut it into pieces and skewered them with wooden sticks. We are eating this? Fong Poliu looked at Lin Fan. Oh my god, was the bug controlling technique supposed to be used like this? Was that really good? Yeah, let's eat snake meat. You don't know, not only is snake meat delicious, but it is also nutritious. It also has health benefits. Although we don't have any supplementary ingredients, it doesn't matter. It will taste good too. Lin Fan busied himself. He noticed the true effect of the bug controlling technique. In any desperate situation, as long as one knew the bug controlling technique, one would have a chance to live. He placed the skewered snake meat on the rack. It couldn't be too close, but it couldn't be too far either. Not long later, a meat fragrance spread out. Fong Poliu didn't expect the snake meat to be so fragrant when it was barbecued. Lin Fan said regretfully, I was in a rush. If I knew, I would have brought some supplementary ingredients. Drip some sesame oil, some chili powder along with a flask of wine. That tastes TSK. It is hard to imagine. The smell of the snake meat spread out. The meat was a little golden, and the skin was crispy. Although the taste would be much worse, with the current conditions, it was already not bad to have such a delicacy. Come eat some. Lin Fan spread the wooden sticks and then took a bite. And not bad, really not bad. It was unexpectedly delicious. The snakes here were different from those on Earth. They didn't have the earthy smell, and the meat was more delicious. Perhaps this was the most special place in the world of cultivation. Yeah, not bad. Fong Poliu praised. Of course, eat quickly and then sleep. Lin Fan sliced the remaining snakes and placed them there to barbecue. The only thought he had about heading out was that he was tired, but he had no choice. To become amazing, one had to be able to bear with loneliness and take hardships. After Lin Fan finished, he laid on the wooden bed to rest. The surroundings were really quiet, and occasionally there would be the roars of wild beasts. Fong Poliu sighed at how a rich young master really knew how to enjoy life, to be able to eat a meal of snake meat outside. He envied the bed he could sleep on. However, they were going to head out in the morning, so he was lazy. He just rested against a tree and closed his eyes to rest. Zhou Mao didn't rest. He just sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to cultivate. As long as there was any movement around, he would wake up right away and then kill the person who threatened cousin. The sky was bright. The air in the forest is really fresh. Lin Fan stretched. It was a safe night, so how would there be so many dangers? Let's head out and continue to rush. He had no choice but to not wash his face and brush his teeth. Without water and tools, what else could he do? If he met a beauty and she told him that she had spent several days in the forest, he would kick her away and tell her not to get close. Who could take not washing their face and brushing their teeth? A few days passed. Lin Fan didn't stop, finding a place to wash up when he passed the city. He also bought some ingredients so that when he cooked in the wilderness, he could add some flavor. As they got closer and closer to Fuzhou, Feng Poliu didn't dare to show his face. He bought a mask in a nearby city to wear in case people recognized him. Is there a need to be so careful? Lin Fan asked. This life was so tiring. Feng Poliu said, I have no choice. It is better to be careful. If people recognize me, it doesn't matter if I'm fine or not, but all of you will be dragged down. Also, try not to use the bug controlling technique. If you're noticed, it will be a huge problem. I know how problematic. I'm really curious what Insect Valley is like for you to actually make it sound so terrifying. Lin Fan was really frightened by Feng Poliu's words. He talked about Insect Valley every day. What would happen if he was noticed? He was really curious about what Insect Valley was like to actually give one a terrifying feeling. When you see it one day, you will know how terrifying Insect Valley is. Feng Poliu said, very few people dare to stay in Insect Valley as they didn't know whether or not the bed they slept on had numerous bugs in it. I'm looking forward to it. Lin Fan wanted to see how amazing Insect Valley was, but now wasn't the time. He was a little weak, and even if he met them, he would be chased by them. We are at most 2 days away from Fuzhou. Once we get there, don't let anyone target us. Feng Poliu warned. He didn't understand what this kid wanted to do. To wipe out 9 bug gang with his current strength was just a dream. Even if he had a dream, he shouldn't dream about such unrealistic things. Being prepared, the 3 of them continued on their way. Lin Fan had thought about it. He had to let 9 bug gang know how strong he was. They sent people to find trouble with him, and that was already too much. He didn't want to stoop to their level, so naturally, he knew what he was doing. However, the outcome was regretful. 9 bug gang didn't know what they were doing. On the official path, 3 horses galloped towards Fuzhou. Not far away, there was a small group of people who rode in the opposite direction from Lin Fan. They were about to bump into each other. These people were dressed in the same uniform and had a cape on their bodies. The patterns on the cape were exclusive to 9 bug gang. Those who recognized the patterns moved aside. How would they dare to block people from 9 bug gang? Even hundreds of miles away, they knew about 9 bug gang's name. That was a really terrifying power. If he was too handsome and 9 bug gang targeted him, that would be a tragedy. They heard of a story, although they didn't know if it was true or false. Since it spread out, then there was a reason. There was a handsome guy who walked on the streets normally. However, when 9 bug gang saw him, they thought, why was he so handsome? They were annoyed. They didn't do anything and just waved their hands. That handsome guy's face was covered in blood and many bugs crawled out from his face. The scene was gory and terrifying, such that everyone exclaimed. That handsome guy couldn't take the fact that he had become so ugly, so he hanged himself. So to people who knew about 9 bug gang, they didn't want to offend such a person. Instantly, 2 waves of people brushed past one another. Lin Fan turned his head, and so did the other. The 2 of them stared at one another, even if it was just for a blink of an eye. Both of them saw different things in one another's eyes. Hualulu. Lin Fan stopped. 9 bug gang people stopped too. The 9 bug gang leader opened his mouth. Kid, although I don't know you, I have a feeling that you are the person I am looking for. Lin Fan said, right, I have that feeling too. He felt that this thing was really magical. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.